The Rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS explores the relationships that are affecting the global economy right now. This book explores the relationships of the African diaspora's influence on the African continent and why this is important in stabilizing relationships with an understanding of how BRICS impacts the future, good or bad. You can order your copy of The Rise of Africa today on Amazon.com.
Every journey begins with a simple act of care. For Quest to Unite Africa, that journey started with something simple: a mother, a newborn, and a promise that no life would be forgotten. We did not begin with buildings, we began with people. We packed mother newborn kits with our own hands because real change starts where the need is greatest. Those kits traveled farther than we imagined, and they opened our eyes to a deeper truth. Aid saves lives, but infrastructure saves generations. So we grew. Together with donors, volunteers, and partners, we sent a medical container to Burkina Faso. Not just supplies, but hope. Not just boxes, but proof that when a community comes together, healing moves across borders. That moment changed us because we realized something powerful. We weren't just delivering help, we were building a future. Now, the journey continues. The next chapter is bigger than a shipment, bigger than a campaign. We are raising funds to build a state-of-the-art hospital, a place where mothers can give birth safely, where families can find care close to home, and where communities can grow stronger for generations to come. This hospital is not just a structure, it's a promise. A promise that healthcare will no longer be temporary. A promise that dignity will have a permanent home. And just like every step before, we cannot do this alone. Every gift, every brick, every name placed on the founder path becomes part of a story that began with compassion and is growing into legacy. It helps us move from emergency aid to lasting healing, from containers to care that never leaves, from vision to reality. Join us, stand with us, help us build a hospital that will serve generations, moving healthcare into action. Visit q2ua.org today.
Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. The reason that I can say that is you have a couple of different factors occurring right now as we speak on the world stage. The dollar is being disrupted. Nations are no longer wanting to engage with the United States. But the third factor that affects each and every one of us is that there is a diaspora from the African continent that's willing and able to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent.
All right, shalom, salama, siemi, shalom. Greetings to all of my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you're a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you all this morning. I am running a little later because I was trying to decide if I wanted to do this and talk about this or Q2A this morning. But I believe with everything going on, this was more appropriate for Q2A. And, excuse me, for Covenant Awakenings, Vice Q2A. Now, one of the things that is actually happening on the continent because of all the stuff that's going on with the war is that ports like Kenya and Dar es Salaam are receiving a substantial increase in port traffic over on the east coast of Africa. So that really is very economically significant. So that's one of the things that, for right now that's a big deal. What now ships are going to have to do, they're going to have to use Africa a lot more. And I think we had already game planned a lot of what's happening right now. I would say in terms of what we were looking at in the initial days of the war. So stay with me now because I'm going to try to recap this as best as possible. So you all are seeing how things are significantly moving. And, I want to be very, very direct with this. This is not going to be an overnight process. Hey, we're going to do this and do that, and we're going to go there and, blink of an eye. Maybe, but realistically, no. What's going to end up happening is that right now, the power dynamics are quickly shifting to the continent. And, this is why I say this is more of it is Q2A in terms of what the mission is of Quest Unite Africa. Because why? Because there's a lot of opportunities that's going on due to the direction of this war. And it's not that this is lost on anyone. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be lost on this audience here. It should not be lost on any of our community, especially for those Israelites that know who they are, that know where they come from, that know where the scriptures had said that we are going to return back from the place that the Most High had taken us, that would be returning back to our land, because understand there's also these economic implications when it does come to prophecy. Economics and resources are one and the same. Shipping is one and the same. Now, understand there's oil in Africa. Don't get it twisted. There's oil in Nigeria and Cameroon and Angola and other places. Don't get it twisted. While these other nations are being destabilized, there are many opportunities that the continent is involved in and it's having. This is really an impact of a dramatic magnitudes of order. Yes, in Senegal, absolutely. Those are just some of the questions, or excuse me, some of the countries that I had on the top of my head. Thank you, Sister Pamela. The resources and the shipping. Yes, thank you, Little Blood. Uganda, Mozambique, yep, Angola, Nigeria. Absolutely. South, the southern, south of sub-Saharan, excuse me, that's the most appropriate. Sub-Saharan. And Brother Garth has stated most oil is in Africa. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. And so I say that because we just get a lot of different things, that's on out there. That's just how that goes. But I want to bring this into context and the focus right here because yes, Africa is going to see a very interesting shift in their position. So I'm coming here real quick. This is being purported on X. This was not really my main focus of today, but it does highlight the ever increasing capabilities that occur with different things going on. And coming here, you're going to see a lot of different things, and it's not going to really be very conducive. Give me a second. So you're seeing here breaking news. This is about 17 hours ago. This was really right after this broadcast had wrapped up. A lot of things had occurred. And one of those that I'm showing you here is breaking. This has been purported in Western media, but they're saying this is from an Adam with the check mark, verified, Adame Media. First ever direct hit on an F-35. For the first time in history, an American F-35 jet has been hit. So it says Iran has the ability to down America's best jets. Trump lied about having air superiority. He lied about taking out Iran's air defense. And this is where you are seeing the silhouette of the imagery in terms of this is probably more than likely at night, just due to how the imagery is presented with some sort of a FLIR or infrared imaging that's there, especially as you can see it's more than likely the heat signature for the thermal imagery. You also have World Affairs Now. ABC News confirmed that U.S. F-35 stealth jet fighter was shot down by Russian S-300 defense system. And they're saying it's Dubai. This is reported again from World Affairs 7 hours ago. And let me
telling ABC News tonight a U.S. F-35 stealth fighter on a combat mission over Iran was hit possibly by hostile fire. The stealth fighter making an emergency landing at a U.S. base. The pilot tonight reportedly in stable condition. And tonight questions about how the stealth fighter, nearly invisible to radar, could have been hit. It comes amid growing Iranian attacks.
Okay, so I want to play that again. This is fair use, YouTube, fair use for education purposes.
Good evening. We begin tonight here with breaking news in the war in Iran. Sources telling ABC News tonight a U.S. F-35 stealth fighter on a combat mission over Iran was hit possibly by hostile fire. The stealth fighter making an emergency landing at a U.S. base. The pilot tonight reportedly in stable condition. And tonight questions about how the stealth fighter, nearly invisible to radar, could have been hit.
So keep this in mind. You know, remember what I was saying at the beginning. I was saying this, the more they run those missions, the more they're going to be presenting their signatures to the Iranian forces. That's how that goes. That's why they wanted to have the decapitation strike. That's why they did not want to get bogged down into this war. Because when you are dealing with warfare, everything goes through a progressive elaboration. And I'm giving you this in terms of literally project management type of I would say processes and programs, procedures, things of that nature. Now, the reality is when you actually understand the nature of project management actually came from the military. That was part of its reiteration cycles, you know, warfare and planning cycles. That was actually project management. It just that, you know, it went to a civilian space and, you know, they had to clean it on up and make things nice and shiny, and you know, so they can charge, you know, at least $250 a year with, you know, for memberships with at least $500 a year, or $500 to $600 excuse me, to take a test so you know how to properly plan projects. So the reason I can tell you that, I am a certified project manager, project management professional. So I have my PMP. I'm PMP, project management professional. I had to laugh because, you know, that was one of the things I'm like, I don't know if they really thought that out. Or prompt maybe better. But as I wildly tangented off, the methods of warfare is this. Anytime you go into warfare and you think that you have this and that and you have everything figured on out, that's dangerous. You can ask any general at CENTCOM. You can ask any general at Bragg. You can ask any general at Joint Staff and Pentagon. That is dangerous because you never want to be cocky. The pure hubris of the cockiness is always the first downfall of anything. Oh, we're going to go on out there. We're going to strike them. We're going to bam, bam, bam. And then boom, boom, boom. And then it's all good. And yeah, and then I'll be in control of Iran. Really? Did you all see how that magnificently failed? It failed. And now the idea of, okay, it failed, let's bring in this diplomatic solution, let's try to get engaged with them, let's try to understand that is the actual game plan. Okay, oops, it didn't go the way we need to recalibrate this, and then we can go back on in and then try to take out the rest of their leadership. Because why? Because if you think that everybody's a fool, then by virtue of that thought process, you become foolish in the process. Oh, they're just that dumb. Because understand, they have been in that echo chamber that they created for themselves. Because I'm sorry, but when you had people like me up in these 4-star commands, given the honest opinion, hey, what do you think? I think it's a terrible idea because here's this, here's this, here's this. And if you need me to, I can write some talking points. I can write an information paper and give you all of the fine lines, what and why this will not go very well. What could be a positive and what will be your negatives? What will be your opportunities? What will be your threats? It's basically just a simple swope. And with everything that you do, you have to have an engagement plan. Neo diplomacy is a new currency. Engagement, 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 and not engage a prime minister, a head of an actual country, a country that was desecrated via the very first war crime, in my opinion, using a weapon of mass destruction during the very first time, or one of the first instances noted that there was literally diplomatic communications going on trying to work out the terms of, they don't like to talk about that. And then to have that nation, and I told you this, they have literally been beaten down so much that they were talking about Japan. We're talking about whatever her name is, Prime Minister of Japan. And all she could do was just sit there, Sanae Takaichi, while Trump literally had a very, very, very awful anecdote. I don't even know how to explain how to say that. Well, they didn't give us a head up with Pearl Harbor. Well, they tried to give you a head up of negotiating with the terms of surrender, but just like what you did with Iran these last couple of times, I guess we know how that worked, how those talks work on out. I guess the Iranians should have learned that lesson. We could have said that too. Do you understand how all of these different word plays and mechanisms, like, just stop talking, because the little coy and cheeky comments literally are leading to their demise. Because yes, she was mortified, she absolutely was. The look on her face was horrible. And let me do this. This is fair use. I think YouTube will allow me to will allow that.
Here we go.
Japan and US are very good friends. But one question, why didn't you tell US allies in Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran? So we are very confused about we Japanese citizens.
Well, one thing, you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor?
Do you see the uncomfortable look on her face?
Surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan?
Look how this goes.
Why didn't you tell me about?
Do you see how wide her eyes got? That wasn't a look of ha ha hee hee ha 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 ha. It wasn't funny. Well, let me tell you about surprise when we show on up there and we burn crosses and black people's Negroes, you know, those are the ones, the hard R's, lawns at the middle of the night. Talk about surprise, boy. Woohoo. Ha ha hee hee. All I could think was Obadiah. Exactly, Luo Blood. Trump embarrassed her and the whole country of Japan. How to lose friends and alienate yourself and become the pariah of the whole world, all within a month. Yeah, she was shocked. Marble says, Maribel Dorsey says, Orientals, Asians. We'll clean that up for you, Maribel. Asians believe in generational revenge. Yeah, and Sister Dowdy, I met Sister Dowdy. Shalom, Sister Dowdy. In my opinion, he embarrassed himself and the U.S. Absolutely. And here's the thing. The Asians take honor, losing honor very seriously. Look. You want somebody to go on in there and to rescue their people who in the Persian Gulf, to open up the Strait of Hormuz, who they literally close everything down. All right. No words. Dorsey, thank you. All right, Dorsey. I would say we wouldn't have to have this conversation if you had given us heads up so we can get our people on out of there. You bring dishonor, Miyagi-san. What's it? You bring dishonor, Donald-san. Like Karate Kid, Miyagi jumping over the fence. Nobody's jumping over the fence to save this. You know what black folks are doing? We're just sitting here like just watching this horror movie unfold because it's a horror and comedy all at the same time. I'm telling you, this is real life scary movie. For real? No, for real. Oh my good. Oh.
As the kids would say, say you swear, say you swear. Yeah. In 2 weeks, gas went from $4.99 to $5.39. This Trump probably saw Three Ninjas. Of course he saw Three Ninjas. Isn't that what was it the Hulkster in Three Ninjas? Wasn't Hulk Hogan in Three Ninjas the Hulkster? Yes, brother Asaph. He says, Karis, you are laughing, but the U.S. is self-destructing at a pace that makes the Roman Empire look efficient. You know, the saddest reality is, if you're not laughing, you are crying. Yes, Kuwait gas fields were also bombed. Oh, yeah. Don't bomb Qatar like that ever again. They said, fine. Kuwait, you next. Who won it? Who's next? Step up to the plate. Who's next? He said, Iran said they knocking everybody out. Iran's up there looking like Wreck-It Ralph. They said we got, and now, I kid you not, now they're coming to the stage. This is what took me a minute, family. This is what took me a minute. I had to process this one. I had to process it. I had to coordinate. I had to coordinate. Oh my, oh my. You know it's over when you see my man Yaya Saray. When Yaya be coming to the podium. Doesn't this seem like a fat man scoop of Annie up? Drop that fool, Annie up. This is the Shiite cipher right here. Coming to the stage, Mr. Yaya. Oh, look. You don't even have to know the words that's coming out of his mouth when you know it just got serious. You got the Houthi Buster Rhymes. Woo-ha! We got the Bob Almendo in check. Oh no! Here we go. He says he's not playing. Here we go.
إيران لأنه يعتبرها العائق الأكبر في طريق إنجاز مخططه ولذلك فأيه.
He says because of Netanyahu and those folks carrying on out these attacks. Basically, if you all can't see this, I'll try to keep up in paraphrasing.
من وعدوان أمريكي مساند للعدو الإسرائيلي ضد إيران.
In support of the settler enemy against Iran.
في إطار الهدف نفسه الرامي لتمكين العدو الإسرائيلي من السيطرة على المنطقة كلها.
That they're trying to help them folks seize control over the entire region.
وهذا ما لا يمكن السكوت عنه لأنه يعني
He said that's something that cannot be tolerated.
مصادرة حرية واستقلال وكرامة.
So that's the confiscation of freedom, liberty, and dignity. He said of our nation. Oh, whose nation? Here we go.
أمتنا واستعبادها وإذلالها.
He said, and it's enslavement and humiliation. Oh, those are some fighting words. Here we go.
ومسخ هويتها واحتلال.
Wait. Oh, snap. I don't know if you caught this. I don't know if you caught this. He's throwing them some bars down. I don't know if you caught this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. And he says, and the erasure of its identity. Uh-oh. Can you all see that? Let me get myself out of here. Can you all see that? And the erasure of its identity. I'm sorry, family. Please forgive me. But that should have gone off in your heads. I'm sorry I had to put that sound effect in there. But boy, oh boy, did he just say what I think he just said? Did he just go where I think he just went? Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. They know what happened to us. Yes, they do. They said if it can happen to them, it's going to happen to us. If they could do that to the children of the Most High, his people, oh, it's going to happen to. See, we could tolerate that as long as that wasn't going to happen to us. We can manage. That was a managed problem because as long as their existential security wasn't what that person said a couple of years ago, that young black men are an existential threat to that nation. Isn't that what they said about our people? Don't think that the world does not know. They know. And now, because they are literally seeing that, well, you want to know what? As long as it didn't happen to us, we're all right. We were praying for y'all. We were praying for y'all from afar. We were giving salah from afar. That's prayers. With them 5 times a day, we at least pray for y'all once out of those 5 times. We said, Father, please do not have us be enslaved and humiliated and have the erasure of our identity like your people. Them Israelites, them Hebrews. Let me continue.
واحتلال أوطانها ونهب ثرواتها وتثبيت معادلة الاستباحة للدم والعرض والأرض والمقدسات ولذلك فالمعركة هي معركة الأمة بكل.
So what he's saying is they don't want to have the desecration of their lands, their holy sites, everything that they hold sacred, and therefore this battle is the battle of the entire Ummah. So basically the Ummah is like the equivalent of the church. This is the holy war. Here we go.
كلها والنجاة للأمة والعزة والنصر في التحرك في الجهاد في سبيل.
Said so now they're going to go forward. They're going to move in victory in their jihad for God Almighty. Obviously, we already know what their God is. Their principality. Let's not get it twisted, but here we go.
الله تعالى كما قال تعالى وقاتلوا في سبيل الله.
And it said, and their God says to fight in the cause
واعلموا
of
أن
God,
الله سميع عليم.
and know that their God is all hearing and all knowing.
وقال تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا.
And he also says, oh, you who believe,
إن تنصروا الله
if you support God, he will support you.
ينصركم ويثبت أقدامكم.
And make your feet firm. Okay.
صدق الله العظيم وبناء عليه فإنه في حالة.
On that basis, in the event of American involvement, here we go. Here it is.
التورط الأمريكي في الهجوم والعدوان على إيران.
In the attack and aggression against Iran.
مع العدو الإسرائيلي.
Alongside the settler colony enemy. Here we go.
فإن القوات المسلحة اليمنية.
Then the Yemeni armed forces
سوف تستهدف
will target its ships and warships in the Red Sea. In the Red Sea. I wanted to give you all a minute to let that sink in. They're going to shut down the Strait of Hormuz and the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. Didn't we go over that yesterday? I think we did. In comparison to the Chicago Bulls, 96 and 97 run during their championship campaigns, this was before Rodman had dyed his hair. The Houthis just gave you the taste. And now they're coming off the bench after serving a suspension, and they're taking it to Karl Malone. Now the U.S. calls them the Houthis. They're actually called the Yemeni Armed Forces. They said, let me go get Omar. Omar coming, yo. Whee! You're Omar coming, yo. I know if I play that clip, I will get an immediate white circle. Yerp. Just do yourself a favor and drop the bag out that window. Houthis coming, yo. Houthis coming, yo. Oh, I don't think we need to see the rest, but I'm kind of curious. But here we go.
وبوارجه في البحر الأحمر. إن القوات المسلحة تتابع.
The armed forces are monitoring
وترصد كافة التحركات
and tracking all movements in the region. Oh boy.
في المنطقة منها التحركات المعارضة
including hostile movement. So basically, everything in the, let me just tell you what that means. The Arabian Sea, the Gulf of Aden, the Red Sea, even including parts of the Mediterranean Sea, are now within the window. That even includes Egypt. So they're going to have to pull back even more, potentially to Turkey. And Turkey is basically their fair weather. They don't know where they're going to lie at. Here we go.
ضد بلدنا وإنها
Against our
بعون الله
country,
ستتخذ
with God's help, will take all necessary, legitimate measures
ما يلزم من إجراءات مشروعة للدفاع عن
to
بلدنا
defend
العزيز
our dear country
وشعبه الأبي.
and its proud
إن
people.
اليمن العزيز
Dear Yemen, he's making the appeal. This is a call to action
بشعبه العظيم
with its great people
وقيادته
and its leadership of faith
المؤمنة وجيشه المجاهد
and its mujahid army, their folks, all the people,
سيقف إلى جانب أي
will
بلد
stand
عربي
alongside any Arab or Islamic country
أو إسلامي يتعرض للعدوان
that faces, I don't even know if I could, the Zeos, maybe I'm able to say that, Z Nation, aggression,
الصهيوني أو يقرر مواجهة
or decides to confront this aggression
هذا العدوان دفاعا عن نفسه أو
in
دعما
defense of itself or in support of the mujahideen in the resistance.
وإسنادا للمجاهدين في المقاومة الفلسطينية.
And that's the Palestinian as resistance.
لن نتخلى عن
We will not abandon our brothers in the Gaza Strip. Oh, I told you. I told you. You get them high, hit them high, hit them high, hit them high. You let them hold, let them low, hit them low. Then I'll hit. Yo, they're about to put the Space Jam track on them. Oh, no. I'll finish this song out. There's only 2 seconds.
إخواننا في قطاع غزة
Boy, oh boy. Let me get to some of this news. This will be breaking because the markets will also be opening in the next 5 minutes. And so as the markets are opening within these next 5 minutes, so there's no parity right now because yeah, look, those are the Houthi monsters. Oh my goodness. This is from the Wall Street Journal. Hopefully I don't hit a paywall or anything of that nature. So let me share this. This is an exclusive. Saudi Arabia sees a spike to $180 USD oil if energy shock persists past April. Well, that was as of yesterday. So prices at such a level could trigger a recession or consumer changes that crush demand. Well, prices at this level, the level that's currently on at, is doing that right now. There are many countries that are reporting that they will be running out of oil within the next couple of days if they had not already done so. So this is by Somerset, Ryan December, and David Uberti. And that is your Saudi Aramco. I think I showed you all my little hat the other day. My helmet. No, I just didn't buy it on eBay. Saudi oil officials are working frantically to project how high oil prices might go if the Iran war and its disruption of energy supplies doesn't end soon. And they don't look like what they don't like what they are seeing. Excuse me. The base case, several oil officials in the Gulf's biggest producer said, is that prices could soar past $180 a barrel if the disruptions persist until late April. And it will. Because once you have Houthi involvement, it is going to be at least 6 months until they even decide they want to wind down. The Houthis are like that kid at the excuse me, at the jungle gym at the park, playing on the jungle gym. And the mom said, all right, come on, Chris. Let's go, Chris. Oh, I'm still playing, Mom. Come on, Chris. We need to go. I'm still playing. Mom, I'm playing. Leave me alone. Give me 5 more minutes. This is this is not good. See, this was also before. This was as of yesterday's. This was yesterday. So again, last time that you have information of value or latest. So this information of value has been superseded. This has all been superseded, excuse me. This has all been superseded by the Houthi involvement. And I told you the Houthi question is going to really, that's it. So you understand that they had a cessation of hostilities against the settler colony because part of the agreement and arrangement was, well, you don't target Palestinians. Which because I think that ended like around, I think maybe it was like August, September timeframe. But they've continued that settler colony, obviously. They continue to break the ceasefire that they had with the Houthis. They've continued that. So now it was they were looking to see is Iran serious? Are they serious about it this time? No, are they serious? No, we're ready to go. Look, are they game? Are they for real? And now this reality has been that yes, Iran has been now deadly serious. And I can't really understate how deadly the Houthis are. They were so deadly that they did cause, supposedly, the settler nation, the settler colony to stand down, even though that agreement was broken within like literally days. But they're basically saying it better not be as atrocious as it had been. It was still relatively rough. So now here at this time, this was also at a time to where they could move oil, the Saudis could move oil over to Yanbu, which was in the Red Sea. Now you have a major problem because the Red Sea is ostensibly, the Red Sea has now been cut off, both with the Suez and both with the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. So any type of aircraft carriers that are now in that area, they are now in trouble. And one small little fact that they don't like to address or tell people or explain to people, over the last 7 years, and this was even beforehand, you had a lot of Iranian advisors over in Yemen. So Yemen was a proxy war for the Iranians. So I'll give Washington that credit on that understanding on that. But there are some nuances in terms of why it was a proxy and why things were being destabilized, right? So, but at the end of the day, you had proxies, basically the Arab proxy for the West, and then you had the Yemen proxy for Iran. It was a proxy war. It had always been. They had a cessation of hostilities because that was a ceasefire that was brokered by China in 2021. So at the end of the day, you've then had, after the ceasefire, the Houthis were relatively calm. And let me tell you, what people that like to be violent, they don't like relative calm. So when the Gaza situation came about, a little less than 2 years later in 2023, that's when you had the Houthis declare for Gaza as the excuse me, as the overreaching actions of the settler colony had created the G domicile actions. Sorry, I gotta try to say that, label that, so the algorithm doesn't go crazy. So in that impact, you now have a war, an excursion, that's coming to be. Let me share this right here. This is from the New York Times. All right. Pentagon seeks $200 billion to fund Iran war. The request, which the White House has not yet submitted to Congress, is already encountering some resistance, because when you go to Congress to approve funding, you have something that the excuse me, that this current administration is fighting against in its time. It's actually time. So let me bring this here because I want you all to get, a real idea and understanding of how this goes. So sorry, excuse me, I have to kind of bounce from place to place. But I want you to really get this as I'm building up the scenario. Okay. So this is from Como News. Fact check team: Iran conflict revives Washington's fight over who can authorize U.S. force. By Emma Withrow and Morgan Stevens. The fact check team. This was updated March 3rd. So this is about 2.5 weeks later. Oh, excuse me, we're 2.5 weeks later. This is 2.5 weeks ago. As the war in Iran intensifies, the Middle East, or across the Middle East, a constitutional battle is unfolding in Washington over a fundamental question: who has the authority to declare war, Congress or the president? The debate focuses on the War Powers Resolution, a 1973 law designed to prevent years-long military conflicts without congressional approval. Lawmakers passed a measure in the aftermath of the Vietnam War to reclaim authority they believed had drifted too far toward the executive branch. What is a War Powers Resolution? The War Powers Resolution was intended to put limits on a president's ability to send U.S. troops into combat without Congress signing off. Under the law, a president can deploy forces into hostilities only if Congress has formally declared war, passed a specific authorization for the use of military force, or the U.S. has been attacked. This is what Trump is trying to say. The U.S. was getting ready to be attacked, something preemptive. So technically, has not been attacked, and sending over troops is actually against the law. So that's actually one of the terms of impeachment that could be brought up against him. The resolution also sets strict deadlines. The president must notify Congress within 48 hours of introducing U.S. forces into hostilities. From there, here's the key. This is it. A 60-day clock begins. This is why I always am putting on in here, emergency alert, War Day 21. War Day 21. Because now, according to my math, within the 60-day clock, we've now exceeded over 2/3 of the 1/3 of the 60-day clock. We have less than 2/3 left to go. The time is dwindling down. That Congress has to now approve military actions that then are extended beyond 60 days. But it also allows for a 30-day wind down period. So in essence, it's about 90 days. And at 21 days, so you're technically looking somewhere almost 25% of the total time. So again, they have really roughly until about June 30th. June 1st. June 1st. Why is that? Because, well, everybody's going to be graduating from school. School should be out during the summertime. And then from there, 2 or 3 weeks later, then more than likely they can institute a draft. They're giving you the window. They're giving you the time frame. Not me. They are. So now, yes, they now have timing. The problem is, as I go back to this New York Times article, and this New York Times article was as of yesterday by Helene Cooper, Tony Rahm, Karun Demirigian, and Megan Miniero. The Pentagon has asked for $200 billion in funding for the war in Iran, according to a military official and an administration official. A significant sum adding to the cost of an already divisive campaign. The request has been sent to the White House, the military official said, which will review it before any request for funds is formally submitted to Congress. The official spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss the proposal. The request was reported earlier by the Washington Post. This is why when people say, oh, well, there's going to be a false flag. Well, they do that in coordination. Because then you have to make sure that the constituents, right, those people that vote for their Congress members, hey, we're going to sign off on this war. You see what happened? That's why I said, look, I don't know what's going to happen, but we already know how things are framed. If you know the road plan, you know the game plan. See, a lot of this, especially back in 2000, 2003 timeframe, not many people actually understood this because this was very new. Remember the campaign in Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm? It was literally less than 90 days. Because why? Because that was the route that was allowed under law before they had to make it an actual war. So obviously it takes money to kill bad guys, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said when asked about the request during a news conference on Thursday, adding, as far as the $200 billion, I think the number could move. Move in which direction? Move up, move down? Dark sentences, shadowy words. What is that going to look like? And yes, it is an existential threat, the loss of power and leadership, because again, this is actually a proxy to a proxy. This is a proxy of Russia and China. That they have enabled the Iranians to fight. And remember, that's why Trump was getting very mad that, well, we had won essentially, but then they unfairly fought back. He said that. I didn't say it. He said that. And keep in mind, when that has been your maneuver, your tactic, then it doesn't seem fair. Oh, you actually really did. Oh, you actually said that. Oh, you actually did this. They actually fought back. Uh-oh. And now again on this crazy news cycle. Here we go. Shalom, brother Mikael. How are we doing? Haven't heard from you in a minute.
Yeah. I've been in the background listening. Shalom to you, brother Karras, and everybody in the chat. Hey, bro, I just come up here to give fair warning to the listeners. Brothers and sisters, you better go on and get what you're gonna get that you need to survive. Essentials, because I'm a truck driver, and let me tell y'all, a lot of truckers, companies, is finna get ready to close the door because they can't keep up with these high fuel prices. Because I'm in Florida now, and fuel is like $5.75 for diesel. I have 150 gallons tanks on each side. That's 300 gallons. 300 gallons to fill up don't cost me anywhere. Just to fill up is around $1,200.
My goodness.
Y'all catch my drift? Now, I don't fill both of my tanks up. I just fill my driver's side tank, but my fuel, where the fuel reader is, so I know how much I got. But anyway, make a long story short, get what you're gonna get, because what I'm looking at, but what I see you reporting on, Karras, if they keep blowing up oil fields over there, brothers and sisters, the whole world is gonna be. I mean, how are we gonna keep up with that? Because our backup fuel supply we have here in the United States only gonna go so far. And I think back in the 40s or the 50s, they had to do a ration on fuel at one time. I forgot
70s.
What
it was the 70s.
In the 70s. It's in the 70s. So, brothers and sisters, these things are back up on us again. And I don't know what I'm gonna do if they keep getting higher. But besides charge, because the more we charge, because I'm telling you, Karras, I've been going to Miami, around your area, from around before the fuel prices was high. I would get anywhere from Mississippi to Lakeland or Tampa around $2,500 a load, right? Now to come down here to your area of Lakeland and Tampa, I'm charging anywhere from $35,000 to $4,000.
Yep. What happens with that? What do those companies do when you are charging those prices?
They're gonna charge the consumer.
That's right. So you now have
yeah, go ahead.
The I don't know if people understood what he said, and the drasticness of that. He literally said he charged 60%. That's a 60% increase. That's 60%. To $4,000 from $2,500 to $4,000. You got that's the math, and a lot of people that's already struggling and getting by, man, that math ain't mathing. So we're looking at literally a 60% increase just in fuel. That's going to be a 60% increase. Yes, as Brother Garth was saying, consumer price index, it's going to increase. The CPI is going to increase, and that's increased right now. And now you have the Houthis. Now you have the Houthis basically taking out U.S. supply, because what's U.S. going to try and do? The U.S. is going to try to say, well, we're gonna charge this and we're going to charge that. It's not just going to be U.S. It's also going to be Western, because they already know. Look, this is why right now, on like some of them coming from like Times of India or something like that. Oh, well, guess what? The allies that America was asking for, they're now going to show on up, and they're now going to, get into this war to unblock the Strait of Hormuz. And now, with the Bab al-Mandeb being closed, y'all realize that they have French and British ships in that area. And those missiles, especially from Hezbollah, folks don't even talk about Hezbollah like that. You now have Yemen. That whole place is now under a missile range fan. It's now under a missile dome. You talk about Iron Dome and Golden Dome. They got the Persian Dome.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it just ain't the U.S. is affected by it, brothers and sisters. You got France, Great Britain, all the European. They got ships out there with oil on it. They can't get their stuff to their people. So it's just not just a U.S. thing. It's a, I see what the scripture said in Obadiah. Those that are confederate with thee shall turn against thee. This could be the turning point where they turn. Everybody's gonna turn on the U.S. because everybody's hurting.
Because why? Because again, what people don't realize is that the U.S., in terms of being a supplier, they're going to have to be forced to supply the UK, France, Germany, Europe. That's why the U.S. was like, oh, okay, well, we're going to take off Russian sanctions and you can buy Russian gas. And Russia said, nah, forget that. You like those sanctions. You wanted those sanctions, and Putin had to say, Mike Jones. Mike Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all used to love to diss me. Now y'all want to hug and kiss me.
Yeah, back then you didn't want me.
Back then you didn't want me. Now my oil's hot. Y'all all on me. Dun, 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 dun. Man. Man. Look, we laugh.
Not only.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, brother Kerry. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So now when people are like, oh, that strategic oil reserve, it's going to be open. The problem is y'all aren't understanding. It's not open for us. It's going to be open for them. It's going to be open for Europe. It's going to be open for the rest of the world that's not getting any type of oil. On top of that, here's some breaking news. I'm telling you, it's all coming. So fill up, stock up. We're in that time frame. You don't look by 2 or 3 witnesses. Shall a matter be established. We got more witnesses than what you can count.
I'm telling y'all, family. I'm telling you, I ain't got like used to carries when you call in, you call a broker. I had to call a broker to get a load. You know what I'm saying? So I called a broker. We'll negotiate prices, but I sometimes I get what I want, sometimes I don't. Now they don't even argue with you.
Yep.
They say, "What's your rate?"
Yep. Yeah.
What's your rate? Oh, I shoot it up there, fella. I mean, I got
advantage. Shame on you. Shame on you, Brother Mikhail. Shame on you. We heard because
because listen, when they hire, I don't know if y'all know what's going on in the trucking industry, but they have got rid of over 200,000 illegal drivers on this highways. That took a hit to the market, and the minority truckers, like your black truckers, that's owner operators and got little small fleets, we've been taking advantage of because you got to understand, brother and sister, we get lowballed.
Yeah, that's
our white
tradition.
Yeah, our white counterparts can call in for a load and get the market value for that load. We call in. And try to get market value. Say the Mississippi to Miami lane is $3,500. Well, when I say I want $3,500, the broker's gonna try to give it to me for $3,000. But when my white counterparts call in, they'll give them the whole load and then some, and plus fuel surcharge.
And a fuel surcharge. My goodness.
Yeah,
that's really good.
Yeah, so you got to understand, like like all my other brothers that got their own trucks and stuff, we talk on this phone. Hey, we said, man, just listen, we don't never know when we gonna see these again. I said, sock it to them, and we sock it to them.
Look, I can't blame you. All right now.
Carry,
all right.
when the last time I based this one truck I drive. I based this truck. This truck got to make $6,500 a week. That's after I take out fuel and pay myself. This truck should make about $35,000 to $4,000 for the company to my business side of it, right? Man, I've been grossing right now anywhere from $12,000 to $15,000 a week.
There you go. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Won't he do it? Won't he? Yes. I'm like the Christian folks. Won't he do it?
Oh yeah. Hallelujah. Yes. Yeah. And brother, we can so appreciate your donation to QT Way. Won't he do it?
Yeah, we'll see you some of your weight. But yeah, man, folks have been good to us out here though. But like I say, brothers and sisters in the chat, y'all go get what you can. Don't go stupid, don't go crazy, but get what you can. Because I don't know how long this gravy train gonna last. Because if they go up an extra $3 and diesel get up to $8 to $7,
my goodness,
you know what I'm saying, brothers and sisters. That's like I'm telling y'all, it's woo, it's rough.
It'll shut the economy down. It will shut the economy down. It'll look like COVID. Remember COVID? It'll look like that. And no, you're absolutely right. Because Florida was leading that the trucking purge. Remember that during like 2023, 24 timeframe, Florida was needing was having that for the Biden purge, or excuse me, the trucking purge, because on the interstate here in Florida, and I know you've driven that many a time, just south of Orlando, I think over by Fort Pierce, this trucker tried to do an illegal turn.
Yeah, he did. I came by that accident. That was last year. He was on the Florida Turnpike and did an illegal turn. It was I know you're talking about.
Yeah, and it killed like 10 people. It was pretty. It was horrible. And and they went through. He had a CDL out of California, and Florida was literally saying they were looking at not even recognizing commercial driver's license out of California, and they were going to take it to the Supreme Court and all this other stuff. And then they finally had to relent with the Department of Transportation, and they were and you're right, they were getting all of the truckers, the illegal truckers. I mean, I would say undocumented. I'm not going to say illegal, but undocumented truckers off the road.
And you know what, Karis? I don't know if you saw that. Like at the, when you go out of Florida or come into Florida, you got to go through the agricultural check station.
Yep.
And then you got the weigh station.
Right on 10.
Yeah, yep. Man, they will make them guys pull that truck over and park, and it was a bunch of trailers, nothing but trailers. And I'm talking about brothers and sisters. They were getting them guys off the road quick, fast, in a hurry. Go ahead, brother Kerry. I was just see if you saw that.
No, they weren't playing around with that. And now look, a lot of these are traditional businesses, because I have cousins that do truck driving out of Oklahoma and the Tulsa area. And it was one of those things that they're like, oh, well, the trucking industry was slowing down. Remember last year, trucking industry was slowing down with the tariffs and everything else. You had some YouTubers that were truckers, and they were saying how rough things were. And the reality is that there's swings, right? Even though it went down, and now it's going to rebound on up. Now, as it rebounds on up, it's going to probably rebound for a good couple of months. You have to be understanding of this economy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But listen, in the short term, I think our people understand, okay, we need to work this, we need to do that. And right now, I believe you're going to have a lot more of an influx coming into the United States because remember the U.S. would try to diminish the imports because they wanted to have everything made in America, right? They wanted to have they wanted to have raw goods, right, and not the finished products or finished services because they wanted to manufacture here. And that messes out the window. That'll be out the window because now they need to have whatever they can have so they can be able to stockpile, which is the name of the game, because they had a slow stockpile under Biden, right? But now
Mm-hmm.
this stockpile is going to move because if we're saying this on the open here on YouTube, other people are saying it.
Mm-hmm.
Get your stuff, get what you need to have, get your provisions, get your water, get what your necessities, get your medicines.
Brother Carries.
Yes.
You said stockpile, right? Okay. When you on I-75, do you see when you go travel up there? Do you see all the big warehouses they're building all over Florida?
Man, tell me about it. Do you know I was going up to my mom's up in Gainesville yesterday with my daughter. My daughter was driving. I was like, all right, you gonna drive, give me a chance to rest a little bit. I'm looking. It's not just, and let me tell you, it's not just I-75. That's everywhere. Because earlier this week, I went to see my dad over near Cocoa. So I had to go I-4, I-95. Look, it's everywhere. They're stockpiling here, and I've always said this. Look, when the deal goes down, and they're balkanizing, this is where they're going to have their strategic whatever they're going to have, security, things of that nature. And I laughed. I laughed because I said something to my daughter that was it was pretty ignorant. It was kind of ignorant. Well, Cynthia, it was along that lines. It was along that lines of the FEMA camps. And I said, yeah,
Yep.
unfortunately, most of these warehouses, I said, they've been financed by ICE. They've been financed by ICE.
Man, I'm talking about from Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee. I'm talking about family. They just slapping up these warehouses. I'm talking about 3 or 4 football fields long, 2 football fields wide. I'm talking about. I mean, and when you walk into these, hold on, Brother Carriage. I want to show my picture right quick. I want to show y'all, give y'all an idea what I'm talking about. Give me a second.
He's in the warehouse. He's probably pulling up to the warehouse. He said he has a load. He said, I don't ask what you got in that load. I just take it. Where's that load going? It's going to Cape Canaveral to somewhere in the Bahamas. I don't ask questions. I don't ask no questions.
Okay, brother and sister, I'm in the Amazon. This is the Amazon. Y'all see how long that is?
Oh yeah.
You see that across that street? You see that across that street out there? Then look at this field out here. They finna put some more out here. They getting the ground developed now to go on the build out here.
Yep.
Now y'all see how this thing set up like a prison? They got it gated. They got you. I'm talking about, brothers and sisters. This is literally, you can call this a FEMA camp.
Let me try to put you. Let me try to put you on here. Oh, wait a second. So if you can see his profile picture, I'm trying to adjust it that you can see his profile picture.
Then that's across the street. Y'all can see that. And then they got
Yeah,
another warehouse on the backside of it.
yeah. I'm looking at the terrain features. That is somewhere. That's south. That's south.
Yeah, I'm in
Almost.
Daytona.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say
So yeah,
usually
brother,
somewhere
sister.
in the Orlando area because you have a couple different areas with plains, and like when you start to get towards like the East Coast, the way that the way the topography lays on out, it's a little it's flatter. So yeah, so that's northeast of Orlando. It's northeast of
Yes,
Orlando.
sir. Yep, Northeast Orlando.
Hmm. So yeah, so and the it's an interesting dynamic to really see how they're getting all these warehouses on up. And I'm like, for what companies? What companies? How are you getting all these warehouses on up? And Jerome Powell is literally saying that they're not creating jobs.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? So what are
Yes,
they
sir.
doing? They're automating. These are all robot workforces. But they know it's unpopular to show these robot workforces because why? Because when they're bringing robots in, guess what? That's about probably 5 to 7 people that got fired for that robot. And if you're looking at about, potentially between 60 to 75,000 per person, well, guess what they've done in net? They saved about $500,000 just to bring that
Mm-hmm.
robot in for about maybe $15,000 to $20,000. So they're making profits. Don't get it twisted. They're making profit hand over fist with these robots. And then that's why they wanted to go to this automated self-driving, right? Look, don't get it twisted. Oh, we'll do it for, uh 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 eBay, or excuse me, Uber or Lyft, and we can do the automated self-driving and get that together. No, they're trying to do that because then they are going to try to automate logistics, trucking. They already know that. But why are they going to try to automate logistics and trucking? And that's simple. Because now nations and countries, and that's why I wanted to get our British correspondents on out here because they'll let you know what's going on. There are the UK. I was looking at an article. The UK was talking about telecommuting, because they're also at a bind. And again, I would say this: Trump has these folks in a very precarious situation because if Trump says, "Oh yeah, we're going to go ahead and do this and do that," but you don't want to show up with the Strait of Hormuz, guess what? I'm not going to backfill you with any type of oil. So those are a lot of the geopolitical threats that's going on, which is why, look, I always have to say, well, we'll see what happens when it comes to the people joining in. And on top of that, now you understand why um when the talk is getting real greasy and real slick when it comes to the way that he's talking to people like, hey, I got you. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you can't say anything because why? Because this whole fuel crisis thing that I started, you're either gonna, they're doing it's state property, right? You're gonna get down, or you're gonna get what? Laid down. That's gangster. Those are gangsterisms. That's gangster talk. Get down or get laid down. What? What is that supposed to mean? Y'all know about, sneaky. Y'all know about, surprise attacks.
Mm.
Now again, like I said, here's going to be the showdown. Here's the showdown. Just south of you, where you're on out south of us, since you're in the great state of Florida, right? Isn't that what you see every time you come on that state line? The free state of Florida.
Yeah. Yeah. Florida got three different graphics of people. You North Florida, the Panhandle, those your rednecks. Then when you get past from your rednecks from the Panhandle to Orlando, when you get past Orlando and Tampa, shit, you get down there around Miami and Fort Lauderdale, Fort Myers, I call that Cuba.
He ain't lying. He's not lying. So speaking of Cuba, it says U.S. says Cuba is prohibited from taking Russian oil as two tankers head to island. Remember, we were covering a little bit of this yesterday. They are saying that the tankers will be in the area by Monday, and then another one in about 2 weeks. So now the U.S. Treasury Department has said Cuba won't be allowed to take delivery of Russian crude, even as the fuel-starved island appears poised to receive two tankers carrying oil and gas. In a general license published Thursday, the Treasury Office of Foreign Asset Control added Cuba to a list of countries that would be blocked from transactions involving the sale, delivery, or offloading of crude or petroleum products that originate from Russia. And that's why I said we may have a fight in the Florida Straits.
Well, let me ask you this, Brother Kerry. Don't you think it's funny or fishy that they went in there and took Maduro out of Venezuela, kidnapped him, just to control that oil, because just in case what's in the Middle East going on right now backfire?
Yeah, no, that was the plan. But I think right now, here's the reality of this. Those tankers aren't coming alone. Look, we had that discussion yesterday. Those tankers aren't coming alone. You know they're going to be there with some sort of a patrol unit, some sort of a surface ship. I say a surface ship. Yeah, definitely some sort of a patrol or a carrier or frigate, Russian carrier frigate, and then more than likely a sub in the area. Those Florida Straits are about to get hot.
Mm.
And when that does happen, I'm going to tell you this. You also have a couple of other countries. Here's the reality. That also may embolden the Venezuelan people. Okay, well, so the U.S. won't just have its hands full with who? With Cuba, but they'll have their hands full again with who? With Venezuela. So now here's the problem that this all shapes on out. I believe everybody was being told, hey, be patient, be patient. Everybody that is now, look, there's a confederacy against the U.S. Everybody knows that. But I believe it's like, hey, let them do what they want to do, even if that means, look, some people aren't going to make it, but they have to fall into this trap. Let them continue to fall into the trap. And America's trap has always been its vanity. That's the trap. It's supremacy. That's the trap. So they're literally placating. Oh, yeah, you got us. Oh, yeah, you got us. Okay, when they go into Iran, then they're going to realize that's going to be different. And then from there, because the reality was always this. America was running out of money. We already realized that. after Christmas, remember Christmas? Does anybody know what the economic numbers were looking like for Christmas spending this last year?
It was. I forgot the number. I forgot the numbers, but it was bad.
No. I'm going to tell you this. It was so bad they didn't want to publish it. Because I've been waiting for those numbers. If they published it, then I didn't get a chance to see it. But I was waiting on the actual numbers. Because they give you the number, then they do the revisions, usually around, February, then March. I'm going to tell you this, after this quarter, probably in these next like 10 days, when they say, hey, well, we're going to have telecommunicating or, telecommuting for jobs. Matter of fact, just don't come back. We already have AI, or we'll already have your job, through an AI agent. This is how bad. Look, we're at the cusp. Because again, all of these things, everything economically, when we talked about the I think the secretary or the director of the Bureau of Labor and Statistics literally saying that this country cannot survive $100+ per barrel. Right. Where are we at right now? They're trying to keep everything that they can to artificially keep everything under $100 a barrel. That's only going to work so far. And again, now that you have all of these catastrophes really compounding on one another, well, you got now the Houthis. Now you're going to have, this going on. Now you're going to have that going on. Russia's not quick to jump up and say, hey, you can buy my oil. That's not happening. They're literally said, well, we can start looking east. About them buying stuff for only a few months. That's what they said, for only a few months or a few weeks. Because why? Because nobody's going to give the U.S. any type of wiggle room. Because the understanding is going to be this. The U.S. needs to have, quote unquote, their allies help them with the Strait of Hormuz. And for their allies to help them, then the allies have to get gas from the U.S. They got to get oil from the U.S. I believe, just in my opinion, they don't have the infrastructure up and ready in Venezuela, because I still believe in Venezuela. I don't think they still have a good security situation. No matter how much
I don't think so either. I don't think so either. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Because even a lot of these oil execs are like, it will take at least a couple of, at least a half a year. They're like saying at least 6 months to a year to be able to have that infrastructure up and ready. And now you see an emboldened Iran. And do you not think that those folks over in Venezuela see that too? Absolutely. Do you not think that those governments are like, yeah, U.S., we're ready, and then they're telling their people on the back end, mess their stuff up? Mess their stuff up.
So well, you was talking about things becoming automated. You remember when they had those strikes down there in Mobile, Alabama at the ports because they wanted to go fully AI automated to load and load those ships down there?
Yep.
Well, come to find out, Brother Karras, when I know 6G is up and running in California, but when it hit nationwide, they are going to go fully automated because they already got self-driving cars and 18-wheelers out here. But see, they got to have 6G up and running to control the machines for it can do what it can do. I don't know how it works like that, but I know 6G got everything to do with it. what they need to do. But I know 6G is up and running. And then, they building these AI towers. They got one, not AI towers, but centers. They built one right by the Mississippi River in Memphis, Tennessee. And they cleared out a whole where our people were staying, made them move out and built Elon Musk and them all is over. They built a big AI center there, and that thing got to have a lot of water to keep it cool.
Yes,
because it get real hot. Well, guess what they put their AI center by? The Mississippi River.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's a bunch of contaminants and everything else from the cooling, and it's gonna get bad.
Because China is already light years ahead of the U.S. Now China ports are fully automated.
Yes, they are.
Ain't nobody. Yeah, China is. That thing work 24 hours, 7 days a week, 24 hours. It don't matter rain, sleet, hurricane. Them machines out there working, and they know where to put their stuff from point A to point B. And China is killing America right now in the AI sector and 6G. Because China already 6G.
Yeah. Yes, they are. Their technology is very, very advanced. You can't make it on up. It's very advanced. I'm trying to show a story here because I try to make sure that I can get these links and bite-sized links. They kind of it kind of gets a little wonky. But I just posted that story. Yeah, Brother Todd, I was going to get to that. Oh, Chuck Norris passed away. He went to the hospital, I think, yesterday or last night, and he passed on. So, yep, Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris passed?
Yeah, Chuck Norris passed away. We'll get to that story here because I'm telling you, look, a lot of these are heroes to a lot of folks. You know how this operation goes. This is heroes. You know what I'm saying? Like the 80s. You had that.
Yeah.
That was the Delta Force, right? Back in the day, that was the Delta Force.
Yeah, Chuck Norris. You had Sylvester Stallone and John Bob. What's he called? John Bob Van Dam.
Bob Van Dam. JCVD.
Yeah, you had him and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis and
yeah, you had all of them, and now you see the only one that's really still kind of kicking is Arnold Schwarzenegger and what's his name, Steven Seagal. But before I go to there, I want to. This is an article from the Daily Mail. This is out in the UK. Trump is considering ordering U.S. troops to seize or blockade Iran's Karj Island, but risk irrevocable damage to global economy, as Netanyahu also hints at putting boots on the ground. Yeah, Netanyahu's AI avatar. You mean AI Yahoo? But he's looking.
They saying he did. They said he did. I don't know if they're true. I've seen somebody talking about it on social media.
He said he's looking down from the clouds. I said, yeah, he's looking down from the cloud. We're talking about the data center cloud.
Mm-hmm.
You don't pass on. You just get published to the data center. Oh.
Right, Brother Kerry, did you hear about the Congress has already passed the law, but it don't come activated till December. They moved the draft from 18 to 38.
Man.
And they're gonna, instead of you got to go out there and put your name in the draft when you turn 18, you're automatically gonna be put in when you turn 18. From 18 to 38, whoever's from 18 to 38 when December get here, they automatically going to be enlisted into the draft.
Well, yeah, because why is that? And I'm gonna tell you the timing because this actually all corresponds with the story. So this is by Imogen Garfinkel. This is as of today. It was updated less than 30 minutes ago. Donald Trump is considering ordering American troops to seize or blockade Iran's Karg Island, but risk irrevocable damage to the global economy if he goes ahead with the move. Four sources with the knowledge of the issue told Axios the White House was discussing plans to occupy or blockade the island, which is Tehran's most important economic asset and the launch point of 90% of its oil exports. We've always had boots on the ground in conflicts under every president, including Trump. A senior official told the outlet, I know this is a fixation in the media and I get the politics, but the president's going to do what's right. I'm sorry. They're stuck. They have to go through the Strait of Hormuz. If they do that, they risk more. If they put their forces on Karj, Iran's just going to take out Karj. That's a simple one. And then they'll be asking the question, was it worth it? And now you also have some issues going on because you now have an overlapping field of fire with the Houthis. So then my question is, where are you going to launch it from? Where would you launch that operation from? From Iraq? Because Turkey's not going to allow you to do it, and neither is Iraq. You're going to launch it from what? From Syria? Syria has issues. They're about to go into another civil war. You're going to launch it from Jordan? Jordan is under that umbrella that they can get hit by. They can get hit by Yemen. And Yemen can target a lot of the bases that are over there in Jordan. And they can start to hit some of their major ports over in Jordan. Jordan has Aqaba, and that in the settler colony, they have Eilat over off of the Red Sea or the Gulf of Aqaba. So it's not looking very good on that. The prospects aren't looking very good. Qatar is already messed up. Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, Riyadh has already been getting hit. UAE is also getting messed up too. I can't see any nation in that region wanting to do that. Now, are they saying that? Yeah, they're going to say it because, you know, it helps his base. The reality is they won't be able to do that because then how do you even get the USS Tripoli even into the Strait of Hormuz to even do a beach landing or an amphibious assault? I don't think it's possible. But again, everything is psychological warfare because why? Because the target isn't necessarily Iran. Iran's like, yeah, they're bluffing. They can't do anything. They may not be able to hit Karj, but they may try to hit near maybe southeast Iran towards Pakistan, maybe. Just to try to have a show of force that they've entered Iran. They had boots on the ground on Iran, but at what expense? Because then it would be how long would they even last in Iran? And I don't think that they'll have the corridor through Iraq. So try to do what? Jordan to Iraq and then Iraq into southwest Iran? I don't think so either. That corridor is heavily patrolled and observed by Iran. And again, you now have satellite imagery that's purportedly supported by Russia potentially via China. So, for me, it's kind of like, well, then what are you going to do with that? Sorry, I thought I had this on there. This is the article I was talking about right here. So, yeah, you had an AI image, and that's been proven already that it was an AI image of him at a press conference. So, AI Netanyahu, avatars, Avatar Yahoo. I think that would be a better one. Avatar Yahoo. It says it comes as that avatar hinted at putting groups or boots on the ground as war rages on, admitting there must be a ground component. You do a ground component, it's over. That's what they're trying to say. They're trying to destabilize. It's not just going to destabilize the Iranians. It's actually going to stabilize the whole world. Everybody in this whole world is going to be messed up. The oil is going to be messed up. But let me tell you, back again, you know who's not going to get messed up in this one? You know who's going to get paid? The continent. The continent is going to be good. Okay, go ahead, sail around Cape of Good Hope. All right, you're going to have to stop here, stop there, stop in these places. Oh, look. Them port fees, especially for Western nations, they will be astronomical. Can we get off the ship? Nope. Can we stretch our legs? Nope. You order something, we'll bring it on over to you. You stay on your boats. That thing is going to be loaded up with security. Hey, listen, I'm sorry. I just don't want you all to do anything crazy to destabilize anything because, well, we know how y'all act. Stay on the ships. We'll get you your food. We'll get you what's ordered. Matter of fact, you stay in our offshore terminals, and we'll just drone this on over to you, so it'll be dropped off like Amazon delivery service. Because now the continent has every right for that. Hey, in our purview, we need safety. And you coming here, that actually endangers our safety. I'm sure you can understand that. I'm sure you can agree with that. That doesn't just have to stand for the U.S., that stands for every Western country. You realize right now, look, if the dollar is not holding any value or the dollar is not being able to be as fluid in those countries as it had once been before, then those folks that are on over there that had said, yep, I'm going to just build here, I'm going to stay here, I'm going to do this and that. Hey, sorry, you got to go. You got about 90 days. Because why? Because you are a security threat. Well, what about my stuff? What about everything? Hey, we're just going to have to recoup it at present value. Sorry, we didn't do this. It was your government that did this to us. Because people don't, a lot of folks don't truly understand the political dynamics that come into this. Exactly, Brother Asaph. What a time to play the reparations card. Oh, yes. Remember, this is in less than a week. The UN resolution. Oh, in less than a week. Oh, my goodness. What a time. I also had some information in the background with that, and I gotta get that kind of flushed on out. That's what I'll be working on.
Well, let me ask you
This,
this, brother Carey.
yes,
Uh, Iran is very mountainous, right? It's a very mountainous region.
it absolutely is. It's literally a it's literally a naturally terrain fortress.
Hmm. But that if you want to send troops in there, that'll be a bloodbath because they got the high ground.
Yes.
Hmm.
Now I look at it like this. He could say that he wants to send troops in there. If he chooses to do that, I believe wholeheartedly, just my opinion, I believe wholeheartedly that you will see potentially a mutiny of sorts. Remember the whole construct of what they were promoting. Remember with Senator Kelly, and he said, "Look, he was telling the troops. I didn't say that. He was telling the troops, if you have illegal orders, to resist the legal orders." He said that.
Hmm.
So now you're starting to see where this was all going, because now we have a generation of our people. I don't care what that draft is gonna say, what it's gonna do. Go ahead. Look, remember I was telling you all this, the legal framework. The legal framework. Do you not see what Ghana's trying to do? Do you not understand what our brothers and sisters on the continent are trying to do? They're trying to literally keep us from being destroyed. Because who do you think they'll draft first? You already have, if you didn't know how the Vietnam War was prosecuted, if you didn't understand how they did the draft in the Vietnam War, most people in the draft in the Vietnam War, a large majority of that was black people. That's what's happening. And obviously, that is going to be what has happened. Trump has already said, in terms of the aggression, right? Things of that nature, when he was talking about, well, with brown people, these interviews that he's had to do what? To bring in the denigration of us. That this is how you have systemic genocide. Oh, well, they're just going to use black people. They're not going to really use us.
Hmm.
Yeah. Warrior of Yah says, yeah, my father was in Ladrang in 65 because of the draft. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my father was in the draft. He was in the Vietnam War. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How many of our uncles? My uncle's in the Vietnam War.
hmm
Drafted him.
I was gonna go to the military. My daddy talked me out of it because, like I said, till this day, my daddy still suffer from PTSD, and that Agent Orange done something to him.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, like if I go in there, it's my dad sleep. If you go in there and shake him, he'll wake up like he still got his M16 or whatever, or
Mm-hmm.
or he'll grab you and put you in one of it's sad, man, what war do to the mind after all these years, and he won't talk about it, but he will not talk about it. But he, like I said, Dad, I had turned 18, 19 or whatever. I said, I'm gonna go into the military. I said, I don't know what I want to do with myself. I said, college sports ain't working out. I said, I'm just gonna go to the military. He said, no, so I don't want you to go to the military. And he explained to me why, and I was like, wow. So I didn't go.
Mm-hmm. Now let me explain that as I was explaining this to our people. I know that this is hard to understand, but there's, and especially it's not hard to understand now. It's not hard to, a couple months ago, this was hard to understand. What? Huh? Now that you have the continent stepping up for us, when what was it? Remember that, Brother Mikael? What, 4 or 5 years ago? Oh, the continent would never do anything for black folks. Now these folks are trying to figure out, what do we need to have a smooth transition?
Mm-hmm.
What do we need to have this appealing? What do we need to do? How do we need to work with them? Well, you need to give us something to do. You need to give us something to build, to operate, to manage. You need to give us something that we can collaborate on, that can be passed down for generations to generations. You need to allow us to have, number one, our history established and our lineage reestablished, and not as Yahya Sarray had said, eradicated. These folks know they're fighting for literally the essence of their people's souls. Because now you see us in our captivity, and yeah, we're a soulless people. To, fro, everywhere. We look crazy. And we have looked crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're starting to wake up and say, no, something's not right here. Now we're starting to understand their grip and their hold on us, that spiritual grip and that spiritual hold, is no longer working. So here we are at this time, to where I was explaining this to people. Now you're going to start to see when Ghana brings this on up, because Ghana is really the main institution. If you and because I had been privileged to go to Cape Coast last year, Ghana has been really working on this in the background for quite a while. But it's not just Ghana. It's really a lot of the countries that's there on the Gulf of Guinea. And now here we are, that they're going to bring up the case, they're going to bring up the argument, they're going to bring up the resolution, because the resolution then drafts the paperwork. The paperwork is then going to be litigated in court, ICC, ICJ, and then those findings will then be executed via some sort of a Security Council mission that literally the U.S. will have to recuse itself or not have any standing on, because, again, they'll be the main ones holding the bag for those being in possession of stolen property. And it starts with the U.S. Don't forget our brothers and sisters in Brazil and South America and all over the world, the diaspora. But that will impact the U.S. first. So now their calculus, especially with the UN, the UN decade of equality, fairness, and justice. The UN decade of justice Something to that effect. The second decade, 2025 to 2032. The first decade was 2015 to 2024. So this is, well, I'm going to show this to you so you all know what I'm seeing. And I'll put this link in the chat. So they already built up the framework. I'm just showing you this is United Nations human rights. Remember, Trump wanted to get out of this. And he got out of it back in what, in 2017, the Human Rights Commission, because they could see where this was going. So this is the second international decade for people of African descent renews the call for recognition, justice, and development. This is in 2024. So a second international decade for people of African descent was proclaimed on December 17th. The second international decade is an opportunity to take concrete actions to confront the legacies of enslavement and colonialism, deliver reparatory justice, and secure the full human rights. What? And secure the full human rights and freedoms of people of African descent worldwide. I'm not making this up. I'm telling you. I'm showing this to you. I'm not making this up. So they had the first international decade that fell short. This second one, Barbara Reynolds, chair of the UN Working Group of Experts on People of African Descent, WGEPAD, said that the initial effort increased awareness of anti-Black racism and human rights of people of African descent, but lacked enough political will and investment from member states. Now that is going to change. This is all out there. This isn't AI. This is, well, I mean, it's Google. It's Google. Why is this important? Because now it is showing that everything is shifting to the continent. Because why? Because the oil supply in the Middle East is getting ready to get bad. And now, keyword here, I like to show you this. Keyword here, political will. Do you think that right now the continent has enough political will? Of course it does. This article is of 19 December. Yeah, I believe I put that in the chat. I have it in the chat so you all can see that before AI deletes it.
So, based on this article, they already got the framework for us to return home.
They based on this article, they have the political will, and they're getting the framework
Oh, they're getting
into
okay.
the hands, yes, into the hands of the UN, because this is the decade. Here we go. I'm gonna bring this on up here. This is the second international decade for people of African descent, which was proclaimed on December 17th, and that's 2024. This was proclaimed now how many months? About 15 months ago. Almost 16. This second international decade is an opportunity to take concrete actions to confront legacies of enslavement and colonialism. That's what this UN resolution is going to be about. Brother Asaph, how are we doing?
I came in under my real name now because there's no need to hide no more. I came in under my government slave name because there's no need to hide anymore.
He said I'm going back. I'm packing my bags.
You're completely correct. You've touched a subject that's really close to my heart. Us going back and us getting reparations. The gig is up now. Those people done shot themselves, as you'd say in the South, in their own foot. Because with the oil cut off, the only place that they can get resources from now in abundance is Africa. And the African governments are going to tell them, if you don't give us back our people, plus compensation for them and compensation for us, which also is going to include infrastructural development and so on, you ain't going to get nothing from us. Or we could add in it.
Insult to injury.
We could add in it an extra premium that you're going to pay the money anyway.
Come on.
So they are completely snookered or checkmated in, regardless of whatever they do, and they didn't see it coming. And all our people that think that they're going to get something whilst they're in the land of their captivities are in for a serious surprise, because nothing ain't going to come out unless you go back. They're not going to give you the money to spend in these countries that are going down.
You're not going to get commissary while you're in jail. You ain't going to get commissary in jail. Hey, put some commissary on my books. No.
And also we cannot get reparations unless we are declared a nation under the United Nations Charter. And most of the people who are looking at it, even exceptionally well-educated people, are not seeing that. But you see that, I see that, and Brother Yakoba and Minister Teo sees that, and most of the people in here sees that. Oh yeah, the person that commented that it sounds like it's coming from Trump's tariff book. This is even more tighter than Trump's tariff book, because it's targeting the Europeans and also the Arabs. They're not out of it.
No,
for monetary compensation for the people that they're holding. And the beauty of it is that both the Arabs and the Europeans and the Americans kept ledgers of where people came from.
They did.
Yeah, what boat they came from, what tribe they came from, and what our Hebrews' names were before they were changed. For example, if you are Yoruba and your name is Namdi, it means Yahuwah surrounds me, which means you're an Israelite as well. Yeah. If you if your name is any other name with the mention of Yahuwah in it, whether it mentions Yah or not directly, but it infers the name of Yahuwah, it infers that all these people were Israelites. So the quandary is for the Arabs and the Europeans and all the historians who know who we are, they will have to declare us as real Yasharel, and that will be a problem as well, because once you're declared as an Israelite, they're not going to want you here.
Anyway,
They're not going to want you here
Mm-mm.
because they will say that if you are an Israelite and you are the people and you look like that, they're not going to accept it anyway. They're just going to want you to go.
Yeah, exactly. They won't be able to reconcile that. Remember, they don't really parse reality together, just like this. And honestly, look, for a lot of our people, we understand that too. Look, you are not going to get reparations when you're in jail. That's not going to happen. Hey, judge, can you give my reparations? Because my 5x8 it felt real good. That's not you. You don't live here.
Yeah,
You
I've
were
come on
taken
now
here.
as
You were
as
taken.
not Brother Asaph the theologian. I'm coming on here as George Shippey, the author, who has researched these things and seen the fall of Babylon coming from 25 years ago before I was a Hebrew Israelite.
Mm-hmm. Now, here's the thing. Do we have wealth? Yes, we have wealth in knowledge. We do. We have wealth in understanding. We have wealth in building. We have wealth in governing. We have all of the wealth literally as a people. The crazy thing is that the land that has all the wealth is in Africa. So to be quite honest, in terms of what limited finite goods that they have, here's the reality of this. Has anybody seen the gold in Fort Knox? Did they audit that? Didn't they audit, all the minerals and everything else that was promised?
Mm.
How come nobody's seen it? I haven't seen that report.
You see, and not only that, is the resources. We're going back with skills that we've had that has been passed down, or new skills that we've developed to infuse in Africa. For example, Brother Mikhail may think that he's a humble truck driver going from A to B, but he's developed from his driving and from planning and logistics better ways of doing logistics and transport than the guys who even have masters and PhD degrees in transport and logistics from their universities over there, because you've done it practically and you've seen how it works in the West. So more than likely, when you hit the continent, you'll probably be a director of transport rather than driving.
Yes.
Do you see my point?
Oh yeah,
because
absolutely.
you're bringing so you're bringing not only knowledge, but you're bringing transferable skills, transferable knowledge and know-how to the continent to help us to do things better. You've gone silent, Brother Mikhail.
Yeah, I'm just soaking that in, because as I see this thing unfolding, and I was like, okay, we come back to Africa. I was thinking, like, what skill do I have? And like, I never thought of being what you say, having the mind frame of how to make logistics work in Africa so they could be more productive in moving goods and services throughout Africa and the world. So yeah, I didn't ever think of that. I'm just sitting here baffled, like the Most High, like, see, I'm gonna take care of you, son. Just believe. Hey, go ahead, bro.
Yes, because if say, for example, we need to move goods over land, you would be able to, already know how much fuel it takes to move from A to B. You already know what the rate of the ratio of load to petrol that you need to use. You will also be able to plan out the terrain a lot better. You'll also be able to plan out moving more comfortably and together, and the working hours drivers need to use before they get fatigue. All that experience is inside you, which does not come from university. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
Yes, sir.
and let
yeah,
me
so
go ahead, brother.
you are preparing, all of us here in this chat, regardless of what you don't think you have, whether you've been to university or whether you haven't been to university, you have something valuable inside your cranium that you can bring to the continent, which is a usable skill. So I'm going to shut up now. Let Brother Karis continue.
Yeah, so because I think that, you know, a lot of folks, and as I stated this, I know that this is still kind of, I may be overstating the obvious here. As I had stated about the Fort Knox, the Fort Knox reference, and remember, Trump had promised that as he ran, you know, what he ran on, one of his many promises that he broke, obviously, that he was going to audit Fort Knox, and then he was going to show the audit because he was going to have all this transparency. Give me a 1 if you remember that in the chat. Give me a 2 if you don't know anything about the Fort Knox audit. That was one of the biggest things. So I'm not making this up. This is exactly what Trump said. Now, the reality is this. A lot of people, including myself, I don't believe that there's any gold here within the U.S. I actually believe that all the gold had been transferred back to Europe via the UK. I don't know if people remember that there were shipments coming from, I believe, the United States going over to the UK. And then from there, those shipments then go to, I don't know. Look, does anybody remember the memo? The memo that that Rome had declared? It was the Vatican Bank memo. Does anybody remember that memo? It was like late 2023, or it was like 2023, 24. I believe it was 24. And that Vatican memo was basically stating, it was like, it had to have been like October, September 23. But the Vatican memo was stating that they were closing their accounts, or they needed to settle up, or they needed to have some sort of finances. And it was clearly talking to the central banks and the countries, especially European countries, that they needed to settle their affairs. Because why? Because everything was being consolidated into the Vatican. And make no mistake that those catacombs, remember they said they were going to open up the catacombs literally this exact date, today, in 2020. They said they're going to open it up March 20th of 2020. 6 years from the date today. You want to know why? Because I remember that they were supposed to open it up on my daughter's birthday. And today is my daughter's birthday. And they lied about that too. And of course, yes, Michael Yah, Trump went silent on that. Because again, I don't believe that they also, that they've had their gold. I believe that that's still, I believe, that's my opinion, and it'll all come out in the wash, because everything else that I've been talking about, as Brother Asaph is now, you know, giving you that witness, he's an economist. I believe that they've had their quote unquote money in a while. Well, guess what? You're going to send your money over to Rome. It's going to be real easy to throw the U.S. under the bus. This is why when you actually take a look at Isaiah chapter 60, that in that day, let's read Isaiah chapter 60. So I think our people understand what the actual recouping of our wealth looks like. Because this is a new captivity. This was not a captivity. They'll say at that time, I forgot the scriptures that says it, but they'll say at that time, blessed is Yahuwah that brought us on out of the land of the north. I know,
I
brother
think it's
Yaakov.
I think that's Jeremiah 16. I'm gonna look right quick. I'll find it for you.
Yeah, I know you'll be able to get on that one, Brother Mikhail, but let me share this. All right, this is Isaiah chapter 60, King James Version, Isaiah chapter 60. And it says, arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of Yahuwah is risen up upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But Yahuwah shall rise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. And the Gentiles shall come to thy light, and kings to the brightness of thy rising. Lift up thine eyes round about, and see all they gather themselves together. They come to thee, thy son shall come from afar, and thy daughter shall be nursed at thy side. Then thou shalt see and flow together, and thine heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee. The multitude of camels shall cover thee. The dromedaries of Midian and Ephah, all they from Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of Yahuwah. All the flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together unto thee. The rams of Nabaoth shall minister unto thee. They shall come up with acceptance of mine altar, and I will glorify the house of my glory. Who are these that fly as a cloud and as the doves to their windows? Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, and the ships of Tarshish first, and the ships of Tarshish, I have to go in slow motion, first, to bring thy sons from afar, that's our people, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of Yahuwah thy Elohim, and to the Holy One of Yasharel, because he have glorified thee. This is going to be a process of going back to the land, and a process of the Gentiles bringing back the funds. See, you have to remember, they don't want to do it. They're not going to say, oh, you know what? Oops. Oh, my bad.
I had that script for you if you need it, Brother Carey.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's Jeremiah 16. I'm going to start at verse 14 and stop at 15. Jeremiah 16, verse 14. Therefore, behold, the days come, said the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands whither he had driven them. And I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. And that's it.
Mm-hmm. You said verse 16.
Mm-hmm. Jeremiah 16 and 15. Yeah, Jeremiah 16, verse 15.
Yep. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahuwah. And see, why is that? Because they took us. They took us. Why? What are they taking us? Why did they do that? To confront the legacies of enslavement and colonialism. We had been enslaved, and on the continent they had been colonized. This is what the word says.
They didn't just take us, but in the book that I sent you, they took us according to the skills that we had to build nations, because they knew that we were nation builders. That's why they took us. They took us, and the slave trade only targeted Bantu people. Some Nilotics and others were caught up in it, but they were like collateral damage. But they targeted the Bantu people all across the continent for slavery. Both the Europeans and the Arabs did that.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Hey,
This
brother
is why.
Carey, with your
Yeah,
permission,
go ahead.
I'd like to read one more verse.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Isaiah 11, 10 through 12. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for the inside of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. And this goes right back into that Jeremiah 16. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand a second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up the ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth.
Yep.
Hallelujah.
So yeah. So I mean, I look at it like this, and think about this prophetically. The envoy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. Why? Because here it is. Confront the legacies of enslavement and colonialism. Confront the harsh conditions of Judah, the scattering of Judah, and the oppression of Ephraim. Come on.
Yeah, you
Why?
know
Because
that
we're
verse,
still prisoners of war. Go ahead, Brother
right?
Nikan.
Yeah, that verse 13 goes right back into the two sticks being joined together, because you read in Ezekiel, he said, you know, Ephraim and Judah is jealous of one another. So this right here, also in verse 13, from 11 through 13, what we just read, Brother Carey, this is the two sticks coming together.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me make sure, because I've been bouncing back and forth. Right here. That's 11 and 13. 11 and 13 right here.
Yeah. Well, I started at 10 through 13.
Mm-hmm. So here we are at this time, because again, this is where we're we're just seeing everything go in real time. They're talking about a ground invasion. Chuck Norris done died. That's at least a week of mourning with Chuck Norris dying. And now here we are with different things going on that is purely biblical. I wanted to share the articles, the Telegraph. People urged to work from home in global oil crisis. This is the Telegraph UK. When you have people having to work from home, guess what that means? That means you don't have any type of economic vitality. The International Energy Agency says commuting should be limited as war in Middle East intensifies. Well, there you go. People have been urged to work from home as the Iran war intensifies the energy crisis sweeping the globe. The International Energy Agency said people should limit commuting where possible as the worldwide energy shock becomes more and more severe. It released a 10-point set of actions that it said should be implemented quickly by governments, businesses, and households. The top of this list was a request to work from home where possible, which reduces fuel demand for commuting. It also urged governments to lower motorway speed limits by at least 10 kilometers, 6 miles per hour to cut fuel across both passenger vehicles and freight. Well, that's not going to happen here in Florida. Sorry, you already know what I'm talking about, Brother Mikhail. Oh, boy. So now this is crunch time.
Yeah, it is. And we've also been told by their so-called experts that there'll be rationing of fuel and electricity during the winter months coming if this situation in the Arab states continue much longer. But the thing is, even if they stopped it today, the situation would take about 5 years for it to be rectified, according to experts, because of the infrastructure that has been damaged. And the fact is that because Russia doesn't want to backfill the oil and gas, we're going to be taught a lesson. Well, the Europeans are going to be taught a lesson of what it is like to side with the United States, and they're not going to like it. They're not going to like it at all. I can see some very serious difficulties coming. It'll be the onesies for us this winter.
Let me put this on out here because folks are asking about the book. Let me put this on out here. It's a great book. Very heavy on statistics, on stats. And
that's not the one. It's the one that I sent to you.
Oh, which one is that?
That one is a good one as well. It is called The Rise and Fall of the British Empire.
Yes. Okay. Let me put these on out here so they can start to see the collection. We have quite an impressive collection with Asaph. Asaph.
I've written 7, but it's a matter of getting them edited and putting them out.
Yes. I said Asaph Publishing, you know.
And okay. The thing is, I'm surprised that they were taken up by big bookshops in Europe and America. But you see, I'm kind of shadow banned. They don't put them on the shelves. You can order it from the bookshops. It's cheaper to get it from Amazon or somewhere or somewhere like that. Order it online.
Yeah, the Squandered Empire. That's what that is. There we go.
You've got it as well. If it's to hand, you can show them what it looks like.
Yeah, give me a second because I need to grab it. But I do have it. It is right here. It is on Barnes and Noble. So they're seeing that right here. Here it is. So that's George Shippey, PhD, right there. The Squandered Empire. This is a very good read. Again, he's got a couple of books on out there, and he'll have some more being published. Because again, when you have the panel of experts, You know, and I know our people are very humble and gracious regarding, you know, our exploits and things of that nature.
It's a 7 by 10 book, which is much larger than Brother Yakoba's book and Sister Ashanda's book in terms of circumference, and it also has 592 to 594 pages in that book, and it's got all the table. It's got 91 tables in it, and it quantifies dollar for dollar and pound for pound, and also percentage for percentage, the amount of money that these people wasted from the slave trade and from oil. And the
Yeah.
same thing goes from the United States. They just squandered every penny that we sweat for, and now they've found themselves in a very difficult position. If we had people that worked for us for 400 years for free, we wouldn't waste money like how they waste money. And most of it has been used defending white supremacy, the military, sanctions. This book goes all through it. After this, you'll be able to argue with any political scientist, European political scientist, or economist, why we need to get reparations, and why it's important as well. Because I dealt with reparations, but I also dealt with a lot of economics. But thank you very much for mentioning it, Brother Karis. I wasn't going to go too deeply into it, but it's also available in the hardcover as well. But at $29 for a 592 page book with more than 200 references, it's not a bad book at all.
It's so you're literally buying. You're actually not buying a book. You're buying a textbook. It's textbook. It's textbook quality that you would have in terms of how things are scaled on out. Those are the references that you always can, say, hey, listen, well, there's this, and this. And those references have been cross-checked. They've been edited, right, to ensure that, look, these are the actual secondary sources.
Yeah, I had 2 PhD authors edit that book, so it's really tight. It's really tight.
So yeah,
and some of my
ahead.
rhetoric was toned down as well.
Yeah, you have to tone down rhetoric in a lot of these cases. Look, the way I speak to you all, and then there's a way when you're publishing different things, right? Because there's an audience on out there. This is more so, of course, our audience is our community, and obviously our Hebrew community. So there are things that you understand. There are things that I can say that you relate to. You've gotten this. You've understood this for quite a while, especially right now, because most of our people have averaged right now between 5 to 8 years of really coming into this truth. So right now, a majority of our people that are coming into this community, even in latent stages, right, later on stages, this is why you do have a shadow ban on our channels and platforms, especially here in on the YouTube, is simply because they do not want, and well, I'm going to say this, they tried to contain as much truth as they could. And that containment didn't bode very well in the containment. But
well, you know what? Like you saying that.
Another thing as well, sorry to interrupt, Brother Mikhail, is that I've kept the price of these books very low. I'm not making anything on them substantially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to tell you this. When I got his book, I'm like, that book should have been at least 125, just because of the amount of substance that's there. And when you're dealing with actual, like, No kidding. The forensic research, the numbers, the tables, the charts, that is very, very substantial. It's substantial because then when you have those types of books, it's not just about, well, I heard it from somebody, I heard it from the grapevine. No, here's a scholastic start, here's a scholar, here's this, here's that. Same with Brother Yacoba's book, right? And those books, yeah, you know, those can easily be about 90 to 100 bucks easily. And
Easily. But Brother Yacoba's book is constructed forensically. I need to do a review on it as well at some point.
Yeah, so we're here. We're saying that we are the academic class, we're the academia, we're the end all be all. No, but what we do try to provide is we try to provide the data and the data points, so then people can't say, well, you're just talking out your mouth. No, because we're referencing your scholars, right? We're referencing their scholars. And all we're doing is we're compiling the sources, just like even today. I'm not here saying anything or stating anything totally out of whack. Oh man, well, I said it because I said it and I said it. No, even with what was being said when I said, hey, there's going to be the framework, watch and see what happens. And I've said this, watch and see what happens. And now, I've shown that the press release has gone on out there that John Mahama, the president of Ghana, is getting ready to go to the UN for the to have the declaration made for what was being, I would say, substantiated paperwork for the second declaration of the decade for the peoples of African descent. So now what does that do? Now that creates, again, the framework. Well, you want to know how you get reparations? Well, we've talked about that. We've talked about those organizations that have been doing the semi-private walks that you have with organizations like Balanta.org, with Sifue Balaka. I showed that a couple years ago. And this is what you have in the background of then what carries on to the foreground, because things like this, discussions like this, would have always been like, oh, well, I can't see that. That's way too much. That's a lot. I can't imagine that. To now, it's not about you can't imagine it. It's really about how these nations are going to respond to it.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? They can't imagine it anymore, because it's not just the nations responding to it. It's also our people responding to other nations sticking up for the cause.
You were speaking on shadow ban, right? How they shadow ban these Israelite channels on YouTube and social media. I agree because I came into this truth around 2015, 2016, and it was a tight shadow ban on the content that Israelites was putting out over the internet. But that broke. That we broke through that during 2019 when the whole world had to sit down. And as they got to clicking through them phones on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook, and they got to seeing that Israelite content. And then lo and behold, when we came out of that so-called pandemic, what happened? Well, we had superstars like Kanye West, we the Israelites. We had other brothers and sisters that's real famous, like your Kendrick Lamar's, we the Israelites, right? Then y'all remember when Kyrie Irving, go get that documentary, Hebrews to Negroes, Negroes to Hebrews to Negroes, however they go. So you see, brothers and sisters, how that truth got out. It just broke through that firewall of being shadow banned. We broke through it. Now you can't put it back in the bag. Then what Putin do after that? He showed
Yeah,
the what you call it, the catacomb, what they call it, brother Claire, what Putin
yeah,
showed.
yeah. He was showing the iconography. He was
Mm-hmm.
showing the what the monastery, the Russian or the Eastern Orthodox, the Russian Orthodox Church, and the images of Israelites. And guess what? They had afros. They were dark
Mm-hmm.
skinned, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
and the reality is that no, you're absolutely right. What we have talked about, they used to say this is dangerous, it's dangerous. Well, I'm sorry. What we're saying is not getting people deleted. I don't know of any nation that has been attacked. I don't know of any nation that has had a physical nation by nation on this. No, if anything, we have been a catalyst for legal representation that should have always been there. It should have always happened. And now understand that when this comes on up, guess what? A lot of different people are going to have to start to research what has happened. And that is the scariest notion for them, because when you're faced with the possibility of having to pay for crimes against humanity, everybody's going to start to research and everybody's going to want to find out their position on things. Because why? Are we responsible? And who are these actual people? And I bring that on back to Yahya Sore, the Houthi spokesperson, because he's saying this right here. He's saying this right here. Where let me play this.
ومسخ هويتها
He said the erasure of identity. The erasure of identity. He's not just saying that just because. He's saying that because if they become a conquered people, then guess what? Then they'll be treated just like us.
Mm.
And no, I don't think that's him throwing shade at us. But I believe that that's the acknowledgement that, if they do not act, that is a repercussion of a judgment. Because then they'll be erased, and then guess what? Yemen? Who's Yemen? No, we've always been this, and this. We've always been that, this, and that. You have to understand, they stand up for their birthright.
Mm-hmm.
That's a curse.
And speaking of a curse, like, where we at right now in this time frame, past 2019, here we are in 2026. You can go on TikTok right now, Brother Carey, and type this in. White people saying that the curses of Deuteronomy 28 are falling on them. Bro, they are actually reading Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68 about those curses, and they can see those curses falling on them. It's a group of white boys talking about it. And so to back that up, if you go read Deuteronomy 30 and 7, the Most High said, I'm going to place all these curses on your enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're seeing right now, because thank the Most High that we was comfortable in Babylon, but not too comfortable to forget the struggle that we went through. So as you see the markets here crash in America, these folks ain't never been without. The majority of them, just a small fraction of them being without. That's a small fraction, brothers and sisters. That's just a little drop in the bucket. But the rest of them as a whole, they ain't gonna know what it feel like to go to they ain't gonna know what it feel like till it hit them to go open up that refrigerator door. It ain't nothing in them but a jar of mayonnaise. You know what I'm saying, Brother Carey? We know how to survive through this. You know what I'm saying? They don't know, brothers and sisters. They don't know what real struggle looks like, feels like. taste like.
Well, I'm
They
gonna,
ain't
I'm
know
gonna,
how
I'm
to
gonna.
act to go to sleep in a house with no energy, and it's 100 degrees at night. They ain't gonna know how to survive it.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna say, by and that have been in the privileged class, because now I won't take that away. There are some white folks that struggle. They struggle through that. They did not really take advantage of the the handouts given to them. Let me tell you this: they didn't take advantage of the handouts. A lot of the that community that understood the assignment, they take advantage of it. They understood it. Now you have had a generation, and I'm going to say that post-war generation from 2000, you know, 2003, 2004 up until now. That is, as brother Asa, excuse me, Dr. Shippey would then tell you, that was a squander, right? That was a squander because it was all being squandered by everybody, but in that squander, you now have the disenfranchised white folks, and those disenfranchised white folks, again, the reality that they are seeing is that they've always been prey, and they've always been prey. Look, white supremacy doesn't just stop with, well, it's only, black or brown people. They go after their own too.
Mm-hmm.
And they know that they'll go after their own because that's the mechanisms that they had even over in Europe. Right? They went after their own for fief systems, feudal systems, and things of that nature. It was just that things became a lot more. Well, we need to make this more fair, or have a system of fairness, even though they already know. Look, that fairness system. You want to know who exposed that fairness system? Them Epstein files. Because why? Because they're going to tell you they don't care who you are. Now they'll have some steak and beef jerky, but man, they'll have that. They'll eat that chicken too.
Yeah, that will eat that chicken.
You see what I'm saying? So now people started to really get this, and it's like, well, you don't place the blame on us. That's not something that we do, nor something that that's come across. Nope. If we're hungry, we're gonna go on out there. We're gonna hunt. I know where I could go right down the street, and I'm gonna hunt me a deer. If it gets to that point, I'm gonna make it work.
Oh yeah.
So this is getting to the point to where now they're having to ask those questions, and these are very uncomfortable questions that they didn't want to ask. And I say that because I know I have some Caucasian folks, I have Gentile folks that are listening in here, and they've listened in for years, and they're now getting squeezed. But it comes to a point that when you get squeezed to the point that you have to cry out, they're getting squeezed to the point that they have to cry out. They never thought that they would be in this predicament. They never thought that, that their ancestors would, give them really they're holding the proverbial turd. That's what they're doing. And they didn't care. Their ancestors really did not care about them.
I mean, and that goes both ways, because ours didn't either. Because when you look back at the time of Christ, when he was getting ready to be crucified, what our people say? Let the blood be on us and our children. Well, we know blood represents covenant.
Mm-hmm.
You see how that worked, brothers and sisters? Let the blood be on us and our children. So they wrote a check that they knew we couldn't cash. But thank God he sent his son, who redeemed us with his blood. So there it is, brothers and sisters. it works both ways. And you see what we went through as a nation through captivity, 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 and captivity. This our seventh captivity, our last one, thank God. But you see what we went through as a people. What you think they got to go through? They got to go through 1,000 years of this. I yield right there, bro. I don't want to go too far.
Oh yeah, and they're going to listen. They're going to go through a couple different kingdoms and things of that nature. Do not get that twisted. You know, they're going to go through some things with Russia, with China. You know, and who knows what's going to be coming on out here. Look, it looks as though the one of their the newest captivities, you know, is going to be a digital captivity. That's what that thing's going to look like.
Joel 3 tells us that, Karis, because he said, you sold my children to the Grecians. He said, I'm going to sell your sons and your daughters to the children of Judah, and they're going to sell them to the Savior. See, they're going to get that same punishment, same treatment. Like you just said, they're going to be sold to the other folk, just like we were. They're going to be gone.
I'd have to take a look. You know, that's an interesting one with the Sabians. Could the Sabians be like, you know, maybe like, could that, you know what I'm saying? And then they're captured within AI. I just, because you already know how that's going to be. It's going to be a technological enforcement. Hey, you're going to be building up these data centers, and you're going to be building up these machines. My goodness, it's too much. It's a lot to think about. It is a lot to handle because it is a lot to think about. But you know, again, as I've said, we get on here for about 3 hours. You know, this has been a week to get on in here. Thank the Most High that He's allowed me to get to be on in here and just share with you, especially at this time. And you know, I don't know what and how things are going to shape up. I always give people that caveat. I really don't know. Your guess is truly as good as mine. But what I do is I ask the questions. I thank the Most High for the context that I had that can give me a little bit of understanding and insight of what's going on in the world. But I also thank the Most High that He gives me His Ruach HaKodesh, His Holy Spirit, through Yahushua HaMashiach. Because again, as I was trying to look, I'm trying to articulate a framework. I don't know if you know things are going to work out the way that the framework works out, but I try to articulate it. Because to me, and seeing things in the background, you know, of how diplomacy works, right? This is how diplomacy works. This is how, you know, things work at this particular level. Yeah, you got to get to X, Y, and Z, but you cleared through X, Y, and Z doing, you know, being able to do this. And now here we are at this time to where you're going to hear, look, and do you not think that in the background that Ghana is probably going through everything? Like the folks over in Ghana were getting mad about some sort of interactions with a strike that happened within Nigeria. Look, it's going to go through anything and everything because the enemy does not want these two sticks coming together. Absolutely not. And to declare something like that on the world stage, that's why I'm saying, like, family, don't take this for granted. Pray and ask the Most High to give our brothers and sisters strength and doing as the Most High's word had declared.
Sorry to interrupt, but Brother Karis, do you think President Tinubu was invited to England just to show Nigerians how important they are? No, he wasn't.
I don't think so.
The British government's trying to cut oil deals and gas deals with them.
Yes. while they can, because I'm telling you, this is laying the stage, because when things go down, everybody has to start taking a look at different things. Everybody has to start understanding how to move in a different direction for these countries on out here. This, for them, I'm going to tell you this, for them, this is the worst predicament that they've ever been in. The worst predicament. They don't want to be in a situation where they're getting poorer by the day. They're getting poorer by the day. Sorry, the U.S. is getting poorer by the day. All they're trying to do is they're just trying to finance being poor. And that's not working anymore. Because why? Because nobody's buying what they're trying to do. It's not happening. So now, at this time, as people are really trying to figure on out how this thing's going to work, you're not going to have people talking about this. Shoot, you have people that are just saying, well, it's going to blow over in a few, and it's going to get better, and by summertime, I'll be able to plan my vacation. Okay, good luck with that vacation. Good luck when you try to get yourself a taxi. Good luck when you're trying to drive and gas is going to be about $5, $6, or even $7 a gallon for regular unleaded. For regular unleaded. Good luck when groceries that used to cost you around $50 now cost you $250. Good luck. Where are you going, man? I got to go to this farmer's market, and I got to go to the actual farm. And I got a carpool there. That's what that planet's going to look like.
Yep.
So it's designed to get worse. It's designed to where you are hurting. And you're going to hurt. You may not hurt now, but you're going to be hurting. That doesn't mean you're not going to survive it. You're going to survive it.
I think it's a plan of the Most High. I'm just saying out loud. In 2 Chronicles 7:14, it said, "If my people hear my voice, and pray and seek my face." I think we come into that time where he's finna make us uncomfortable in Babylon. Because to be honest, we are a little comfortable in Babylon. We got our houses, our cars, our internet, our phone. We comfortable. It's just the truth. But as things starting to unfold faster now, and your dollar don't stretch as far as it used to 10 years ago, and he's gonna make us uncomfortable. But we gonna have to cry out to him to save us. That's all throughout the scripture, especially in Psalms, where we crying out to the Most High. Yeah, because you just believe these folks gonna get crazy. They gonna show you their true nature. They already showing you now, but they gonna take it to the next level, and that's the only language that the Caucasian race understand is violence.
Oh, they're going to choose. Look, they already done chose violence right now. They chose violence. I had a thought. I felt like, look, you know how many times they feel. Look, what did they say with us? What did they say with us? I felt.
Do you remember that?
I was fear of my life. Sorry, go ahead.
Do you remember that in that same The Squandered Empire, I mentioned how when they come under economic stress, how they move towards militarization and right-wing ideology? And well, I put in there originally that the target becomes the minorities like us, but my editors use political nuance and removed some of the rhetoric.
Yeah. And I think for those, if we understand, the rhetoric will be, so it's a simple paradigm. What is what is rhetoric today will not be rhetoric next week, right? A lot of different things that were, oh, that's not acceptable. Now people are really asking the questions. Wait a second, what is really going on? What's really happening? We've stated this for a while. That's why, look, I don't really get too concerned about a lot of different things going on, especially I know in the continent, you have people saying, well, what about this? And what about that? And they're trying to move over to Kenya and things of that nature. Okay, let them. We already know what the word says. We were just in what? Isaiah 11. Let them. We already know how the story ends. We're just here and we have to witness the story go the way that the Most High is requiring things to go. It's not the most fun thing in the world. Nobody's saying it's fun, but through us being uncomfortable, our people have to cry out to the Most High. We have to cry out to Him, which means that our hearts have to be humbled. Well, I thought that this system was going to save me. Do you know how many people think that this system is still going to save them? It's but
Yeah,
they won't think so.
that's
Go
Isaiah
ahead.
30. That's
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah 30 right there. They woe to them that go down and trust in Egypt, aka America.
Mm-hmm.
You trusted in this system, trusted in Pharaoh. Yeah, yeah, that's gonna be some of our people downfall right there.
Mm-hmm. And it's not going to get any better. Oh yeah. Well, we're going to get back to, remember what they're saying? We're going to get back to, this is going to be a quick war. Remember that whole thing? It's going to be a quick war. The war is going to move, and we'll what was Trump saying? Trump was early saying after he said that, he said after Iran, where they said they're going. We're going to Cuba next. He laid out the roadmap. You're going to Cuba next after Iran. Huh? Okay. But they're now having a problem in Iran. Iran is a problem. It's unfair. It's unfair that they fought back. I didn't say that. He said it. He said it was
Hmm.
unfair that they fought back.
You see at the heart
We were
of it.
beating them. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You see at the heart of it. If America controlled all the oil supply or most of the oil supply, then it would ensure the survival of the dollar for a bit longer.
Yes.
But because the long-term plan hasn't worked, it's put them in a very precarious condition.
Well, again, that's exactly what it is. But they, you don't want to go tell people that is how you're going to survive, right? Through conquest, right? Through trying to conquer everything that you can. Because why? Because that's the last stages. That's the stages that you have, you right in these last, little bit of time. So Iran threatens world to end. So I'm just looking at these news stories because, things are coming on out. There, and I kid you not, they're already talking about potential WMD usage and things of that nature. I mean, they're even talking about today. So again, what do they always do? They love Friday nights. They love Friday nights. That's what they do. Um, so here is this. because I know a lot of our folks. I know a lot of our folks, including me, man. Look, I wonder if Chuck Norris ever went to that island. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I wonder if he died of despair. That's what I'm thinking.
He
You know,
said
Chuck
he's
Norris was a diehard patriot. You know, he loved America. Chuck Norris was the American hero figure for America. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he was about. It looks like he was about 86 years old. 85, 86. It said action star Chuck Norris dies aged 86 after medical emergency. This is Rebecca Cook and Emily Bashforth for Metro UK. This is as of today. It said action star Chuck Norris has died at the age of 86. It has been confirmed. The American actor and martial artist died on Thursday morning in Hawaii, having been rushed to hospital in a medical emergency. In a statement shared on his Instagram page, the announcement this afternoon read, "It is with heavy hearts that our family shares the sudden passing of our beloved Chuck Norris yesterday morning." Wow. So that was, yeah, I knew he went to the hospital yesterday of the emergency. I didn't know that he had already passed away. It says, while we would like to keep the circumstances private, please know that he was surrounded by his family and was at peace. So it added in tribute to the world, he was a martial artist, actor, and a symbol of strength. To us, he was a devoted husband, a loving father and grandfather, an incredible brother in the heart of our family. So let me tell you something about that, because I'm going to tell you this. Yeah, and Garth had kind of stated that. Garth had kind of stated that. Oh yeah, now he was the truth in Invasion USA. In Invasion USA, yeah, he was the truth. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm glad you brought that on up, Warrior of Yah 5106. Um, to me, I always thought something was interesting about the Invasion USA. And now you literally have the Cuba crisis going down. You literally have now Russia, because when they send that oil, they're just not going to send oil. You realize that, right? They're not going to just send oil. There's going to be something else in that oil. Uh-oh. It said no audio. I think I'm good. You can give me one.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I don't know if people remember remember even Toyota, I think it was like 10 years ago, Toyota had the Tacoma commercial, and it was like built Chuck Norris tough. I don't know if you all remember those commercials. It had the Chuck Norris commercials on there for Toyota, the Tacoma. And I don't know if when people, I don't know if people remember this. Back in 2000, it was between like literally the start of the invasion of Iran, like clear up until about 2015. Like that's what everyone had really patterned and modeled, right? Like, hey, it's like Chuck Norris, and he became really more iconic in that time frame of 2000, of really the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. Because again, that was America's action hero. And I don't think people actually understood or realized this. Chuck Norris was actually an Air Force veteran that studied martial arts, and he got his Hollywood start. So here we go. With that, I'm at 3.5 hours. I'm getting tired. Final comments.
Yeah. Well,
Y'all
hey, I
making me
appreciate
work on this.
you.
Go ahead.
I appreciate you bringing me up, brother Cass. I'm gonna go and get off here. You've been on here a good while.
Yeah, exactly. Look, I'm not saying nothing, but since you right down the road and everything, why don't you park that container down the street? I'll tell you what. Now, just
Hey, when I get that trailer back, ain't nothing gonna be on there but sailboat field. And you know how a sailboat field is, though. It's gonna be
oh
bare, empty.
man. Well, we're gonna have to be careful, this goes in locations because people gonna try and find you. What you hauling? What you doing? Look, because y'all know, look, when things get bad, man, it's I say probably in about another 2 or 3 weeks. It's gonna be about 2 or 3 weeks. Because I think you know what I'm talking about. Brother Mikhail, you know what I'm talking about when they're gonna really when America gets when America gets scared, we do crazy things. So that's why I was
Mm-hmm.
just saying, like, hey, be safe, okay? Be safe, because you already know you traveling in the South. Pray for our brother. He is traveling in the South. Please pray for him. And there are some interesting areas that he has to pass through, like Live Oak and Madison.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Please
Yeah.
pray for our brother. Because once you get north of Gainesville, you kind of in no man's land. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Live Oak and all that through there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Quincy and
Oh yeah.
Morena with Cottondale. Shoot. Cottondale. Think about that name. Cottondale.
You're not good until you get to Tallahassee. And Tallahassee's only like a hop, skip, and a jump. They think it's all big. No, it's not. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump. Oh my goodness. All
Yeah,
right.
there you go to Alabama. It's Dothan, Alabama.
Oh,
Ozark, Alabama. Troy, Alabama. Montgomery, Alabama. That's all black. Birmingham, all black. Well, in between there, Caloria and all them little places. Woo. I call them Heathenville. Well, that's Heathenville, boy.
oh my goodness. I spent some time out in Huntsville area. It was
Yeah.
interesting. Huntsville was interesting. I was on Redstone Arsenal in the heart of
Yep,
Hunt.
I've been out there. Yeah, I've been
Mm-hmm.
to Redstone, Austin. I deliver a couple of loads out there to Redstone.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty interesting. Not too bad. Not too bad. It was interesting though.
I tell you what, I mess around and get a load of them MREs. I'm like, I don't know what happened to that load. I woke up, it was all gone. Yeah, them MREs.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know this. I think I heard the other day that there was, I think, like an armory that was targeted. Like people are trying to steal weapons out of an armory the other day. I'll have to follow up on that story. But yeah, that was something I was like, is that a movie? Sometimes I have to look at things and actually see what had happened. I think that was. I'll have to figure it on out. But yeah,
Well,
during
I
this
know one blew up in Tennessee about a couple of months ago. That armory up there where they make ammunition, it blew up.
Mm-hmm. They had that. What was that fire? They had a fire in Pasadena, Texas. There's a couple of different refinery fires. Like, and this is the thing. They don't tell you about all the stuff that's happening here. Unless like these little off-brand shows. They'll be reporting like, hey, this is what happened. So yeah, we're definitely in a TV, excuse me, not TV, a social media blackout. I think that's the best way to say it. We're in a social media blackout.
Yeah, nobody talks about the train derailments. Trains are still derailing out of
Mm.
nowhere, and people ain't talking about that.
Yeah, no, they won't. They won't. As I said this, and I said this I said this a couple years ago. I said, listen, um, you wouldn't know if America has fallen because they won't tell you. They absolutely will not tell you. And it's a shame, but you all know when it was. You all know what time it is. All we can do is just stay safe and stay prayed up. But thank you, brother Mikhail. Be blessed.
Yes, sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right.
Shalom.
All right. Shalom.
Thank you, Karis, for having me on.
Listen, Professor. I appreciate it.
I'm not a professor.
We're gonna
I'm
call you
just a nosy Parker.
the we have the professor on here. The professor.
I'm just nosy. You're probably. I look up to you, Karis.
Well, look, don't say that. I'm just people would say I'm just a foolish Israelite. As I was visiting with my mother yesterday.
A very knowledgeable one.
Yeah, but my my daughter was like, "Dad, we spent you get on the subject because your mom will just hit you with something. Okay, well, do you still believe that Christ died for our sins?" And I'm like, "Yes, Mom," but his name is Yahusha. We've gone through this, but it is one of those things that as much as we tell folks who we are and what and what we represent. Look, here's the thing. I don't our job here is to be a witness. Our job here is to be a witness and to be a light into the nations, right? If you love us, we're gonna love you. That's how that goes. That's genuine. If you love us, we're gonna love you. If you don't like us, we're not gonna just hate on you and pursue you. That's not what we do. That's what they do. What we do, okay, you don't like me. All right, I'm out. We don't really have any hard feelings. We're like, okay, see ya.
Yeah, we just want to be left alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, my job is to not try to convince you to like me. My job is to literally tell you the truth and say, look, whatever you do, your blood is not on my hands. I've done what the Most High's asked me to do. Please believe me. Please believe me. No, I've said that. No. For all my Gentiles on out here, hey, thank you for receiving this truth, because I guarantee you, you're letting people know right now, or you're coming with the plan right now. Okay, well, when you all leave, I've gotten those emails. Hey, when you all leave, I'm a Gentile that's listening in. We get those emails. It's as much as I look. I have to tell you, I stopped receiving the hate emails in about it was like 2023. The hate email stopped right after the whole Gaza thing. It stopped, and you could tell something shifted. You could tell because, again, even right now, they have a shift. It was interesting because in that conversation, as I'm talking to my youngest daughter, she said, "Yeah, Dad, I think the whole world. I think most people know that the whole world hates this place." And I said, "Well, I'm not trying to um, be coy on it or have some sort of of agenda, but I just want you to know that look, this is what's happening, and I want you to be aware." Right? That's what a loving father does. But even as 11 people, look, even for all the stuff that they've done to us, for us to even like say, hey, here's a heads up. Here's the tip. Here's what's going on. If we really didn't, if we were just all about ourselves, well, whatever. Y'all are done. There are some people that feel that way. Okay. I'm going to give them a heads up. Look, because why? Because I know what I'm responsible for. I know what the Most High has told me to do. Not everybody's mission is the same as my mission, and I get it, and that's okay. Hallelujah. This mission right now was only for a limited time, and I got it. Well, in about another 20, 30 years, not long. It was not going to be that long. And now these nations are really seriously dealing with issues, and they're getting rope-a-doped into a very serious manner. And to think that they're going to try and rope-a-dope our people into this craziness, well, they haven't read the word. They haven't read what it says in Jeremiah chapters 30 through 33. They haven't read what it says in Isaiah chapter 60 through 66. Now we're going back home. Now, you can try to act like you're going to do this and that. We get it. This dragon was going to get mad. This dragon was going to be slanderous. We get it. However, we know that with Babylon, this thing is going down. This harlot is being overthrown. Right now, this is what an overthrow looks like. And that she's about to be betrayed. Because why? Because if these folks can't get their oil, then they're going to be willing and dealing. Oh, sorry, Brother Asaph. Sorry, I done talked. If you want to come on, Brother Asaph, I'll let you go. But yeah, Brother Asaph's book, let me go ahead in here, promote that real quick before I get up on out of here. The Squandered Empire, Britain's Economic and Political Rise and Decline by George Shippey, PhD. Also, Jacoba and them are coming on. Jacoba and Teyu are coming on. They have a live today. The Jubilee Cycles and the Great Reset, a mathematical timeline of prophecy. All right. Now, thank you, Brother Asad. No worries. That's going to be in about another 4 hours. Another 4 hours. I can't wait to see it. I told you. I said, listen, Jacoba's already got something. The prophetic resources already got something. All right. Keep us in prayer, family. We are a couple of days away. We're asking for the Most High to provide a miracle with this hospital project initiative, especially in this time. We can do it. We just need your help. That's what it was always going to be. This was a group activity. It was a group activity to get the container. It was a group activity to get this hospital project initiative done. So it is what it is. I know we understand what's happening prophetically, but guess what? Sometimes it's just the intent. All you do, you just put on out there and you let the Most High do the rest. That's how that goes. Hallelujah. So if you'd like to support with this hospital project, you can do so by visiting q2ua.org, q2ua.org. And Brother Fast Nickel has put that right there at the that landing page. Hallelujah. Yeah, Iran just threatened UK for helping the US, and now they're a target. Yeah, it's going down, family. It's going down. This cycle, these news cycles, I have to give it a rest. or else, I'll have to be on all the time. And guess what? I'm not being paid to be a news anchor. If I was a news anchor, shoot, I'll be on up there like Wolf Blitzer. Hey, dun, dun, dun. We're now going to our live correspondent. Yeah, I'll be at the news desk. Hallelujah. But yeah, family, again, if anything major or crazy or chaotic goes down, then I will definitely be on here and giving some comments with that. So again, family, thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your support. We have to really understand we're going through a very special season. And we're going through this together. You're not alone because the Most High is with each and every one of us. And guess what? If you didn't know, he truly loves us. So with that, take heart and be encouraged because Yah is literally fighting for us. So with that said, family, shalom, salama, yemi, shalom, peace and blessings. Yasharel.